All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to episode 304 of the KBMOD podcast. It is December 10th, 2017. And folks, we are so close to Christmas here. It's crazy. We're so close to the end of the year. We've got the usual crew. I returned this week. I wasn't here last week, but it is good to be back.
Welcome back.
And thank you. How's everybody doing? Is everybody in the holiday spirit? Are we all shaken by how soon Christmas is, or are we ready for it?
I'm shaken because it's cold as balls outside.
Yeah, how cold is it where you are, Katie?
Yeah.
Not counting the wind chill, it's at 15 degrees.
Ooh,
That's rough.
It's very fun.
It's cold.
It's frosty.
High of 22. Very generous of the weather to do that for me.
Any precipitation yet, or no?
Yeah, it's been snowing, but yeah.
Gotcha,
because mainly the most shifts I take at my current job are outside, so spending about 3 hours outside at a time. It's lovely. Great.
Well, maybe is that potentially why the guy was upset at you for leaving the doors open before?
Well, it wasn't 15 degrees. It was like.
But maybe
40
he was prepping. Maybe he was prepping now.
He might have been prepping a little too far.
I missed the story. What happened? You got yelled at for something?
I don't want to generate the energy right now.
You got to call back to a previous episode because there's. I feel like there's kind of a saga between KD and this other guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen him again, although I have talked with other people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's that guy," and like everyone knows him. Mainly, I was just one of the posts I had as security for this event taking place outdoors in the museum was in the lobby next to the door, and it was like in between the two heavy doors and the guy at the gift shop, and I had this remote which opens the doors with like two buttons on it, which is godlike. And he was not happy about me using it because of all the cold air getting in, and he didn't understand that it was a sold-out event, about 2,000 people there. So I'm gonna open the door for people if they're coming through. And he's like, yeah. And someone else would come by, and he's like, yeah, I had to yell at him about opening the door so much. I'm like, all right, fuck you, buddy. And so like I would leave and come back, and he had grabbed the remote and has it under the desk, and he's like doing it himself and doing a worse job. It was just, it was a headache. But
so he actually worked at the museum.
Yeah, he did. He was working at the gift shop. He was like the rep there.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. That sound
it's okay. I'll get over it.
Okay, that's good. It's pretty cold here. It's not 15 degrees, but it is let's see. We got some snow yesterday, which like 3 to 4 inches. 33 right now. So actually over double what it is where you are though. That's crazy. 15.
I'm jealous of you guys getting snow right now. My mom actually flew out here for a few days, and she's here right now. And right after she left, like San Antonio and South Texas got snow, which has only happened. I mean, I can count the number of times I've seen snow in Texas on one hand.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
And so she flew out here, and it's been really really temperate, very moderate. And back home in Texas, it's I don't know, it's probably like 30 degrees and they got snow.
That's
so crazy stuff.
Oh. All right. Yeah, so what so other than the weather, wow, we just spent a good 5 minutes talking about the weather, boys, like a bunch of old farts, but I think we're getting there. Hey, it's good because it's, it is getting cold. I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, but like my ideal temperature, I like it colder anyway, but my ideal temperature anywhere from 40 to 50 degrees. Sunny, maybe a little bit of overcast once in a while, but no precipitation year round. Like if I could find a place that was like this year round, I would live there. Which is obviously why people have homes in all different parts of the world when they're rich, because they can go from place to place. But I really don't like maybe a little bit if I got bored of it, I could go somewhere warm for like a vacation. But I just love it. It's like the perfect temperature for me. And so like once it starts snowing, that's when I'm kind of like, I get bummed out. But I don't own a house yet, so I don't have to do like my own snow removal. So it's not that bad yet. I'll really curse it once I got to start doing the shovel again, like when I lived back home. So
millennials hate snow removal.
I was just going to say, not again. Typical millennial. I mean, I guess there's got to be an article on that because we really do. We really do hate it.
I bet there's an article about how you can hire someone to shovel your your walkway for $10 an hour or something.
Exactly, and that's probably actually what I ended up doing anyway. How did everybody's week go? Anything beyond the weather changing move the needle excitement wise before we jump into what we've been eating and of course what we've been playing?
Like I said, my mom's here, and so we wanted to. Hillary found this this thing that's going on in sort of south of San Francisco. It's a Dickens Christmas fair, and it's in a big basically like a big convention center sort of thing. And I didn't know what to expect, but we went to that yesterday, and it's basically sort of a recreation of kind of like Charles Dickens style London storefronts in this convention center. And so it's a bunch of people dressed up, kind of actors dressed up in old-timey English garb, and they put on English accents, and they're serving, they have like bangers and mash and roast beef, and they have like iced wine and just all stuff that you would associate with old-time England. And it was actually pretty fun. It was like a lot more authentic, or like a lot more things than I thought it would be when I first heard like Dickens Christmas Fair. I was thinking like, oh, this is gonna be some second rate, people in costumes just doing stuff. But it was pretty good. People selling stuff, like people, lots of food and drinks, and a ton of people there too. I mean, there were like probably at least a couple thousand people there, and we went really late in the day. So apparently it's a big deal. I had never heard of it, but it's something I guess they do every year. And that was a lot of fun. We had like a really good meal, had a drink, and just kind of walked around. And all the people there get really into it. And so you go up to the bar, and it's it's this girl with an English accent, and she's talking, just quipping like someone from Old England would. And so my mom got a kick out of that. So that was fun. We did that yesterday.
That's cool. Yeah, I wouldn't have. What it sounds like is like a Ren Fair for that time period, but Christmas themed.
Yeah, kind of.
Like
that seems like what. Yeah, it sort of seems like what it was, because like people, attendants were dressed up too. So it seems like it's probably a thing where people, people get into it and probably go to it every year, because it was hard. It was kind of hard to tell who was working there and who was just attending and walking around with us. So that was pretty cool. Like that kind of added to the authenticity feel.
Yeah, that's neat. What did you end up having? You said there was bangers and mash, and what did you end up having for?
We ended up having a classic English staple, macaroni and cheese pie.
Interesting. Macaroni and cheese pie.
Yeah, so like a steak pie or like meat pie is kind of an English dish. So they had a American take on it, which is filled with macaroni and cheese. That was obviously delicious.
Yeah.
And then we had like a roast beef plate that had like green beans, Yorkshire pudding, which is kind of like a bread
pudding.
And also bread pudding, which is like a dessert sort of thing. And then like mashed potatoes and gravy. So that was also what I've been eating this week. That's probably the most notable thing. And then they were serving like, I think my mom got like a brandy and cider. So they had kind of some alcoholic drinks like that. They also served gin and tonic, so I just had one of those. I was pretty happy with that.
Nice.
But yeah, we spent a couple hours there and had a nice meal, and walked around. It's probably something we'll do next year. It's pretty cool.
That's neat. Yeah, I was just gonna say those are always fun when like you go to something that you have no idea what to expect, and it turns out to be actually pretty legit. That sounds. I'll have to look out for that.
Better than I expected for sure.
Yeah, very cool. Anybody else? Do something out of the box and get rewarded? KD, step out of your comfort zone this week. Talk to me about it.
No, brother.
Okay, just checking. Yang, what about you? Anything unexpectedly exciting happen?
No, not really. This is a pretty busy time for the museum, so I've just been kind of buried in work for most of the days.
Nice. Gotcha.
No time for adventure.
No time for adventure. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anything too outside the box. I mean, this entire month, this entire portion of my life is outside the box because obviously I'm expecting a child any day now. So like at everything that happens. We did the hospital tour this week, which made everything a lot more real. Where they just you take a round, you see the triage, you see the delivery room, postpartum.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Stuff. Yeah, so at least at the hospital that we're at, it's a really, really good hospital, probably one of the best like in the area of Pennsylvania, just for kind of at least with delivery. And I was really impressed. It was good. It was also like mentally a good, like once you see it and stuff like that, it kind of like calms you down because not that I'm nervous about anything because I'm first child, but I don't get nervous about anything. But no, actually going through and just kind of seeing what and kind of knowing what to expect, like just just environment stuff is really good. And it was fun. So yeah, so I mean, at this point, any day now could she could be ready to come. We were having an issue where she was breached for a while, which just means her her feet were where her head is supposed to be. And generally with that, this late, it gets a little stressful because if she doesn't turn around on her own, you have to try to manually have her flip around, which we did. We did once with some actually chiropractic stuff where like it pressure points and then it kind of creates more space and the baby flips. Well, Delaney did that once and then for 4 days and then she flipped back and was like, nah, I like this position. So the good news was she flipped back on her own last week. And the bad news for Tab is now she has to wear this. It's kind of like a belt with Velcro, basically 24 hours a day, except for when she showers. That basically just kind of keeps everything really tight and snug for the baby, so that if she is thinking about trying to flip again, it's way harder. So that's been a bit of a challenge for Tab, but she's handling it like a champ. So it's like she's already the most pregnant she's ever like gonna be. The baby's getting big, and it's like, hey, wrap this around you so that you can barely breathe. So it's good though. We're excited for her to be here. So yeah, so that's been the main thing. I'll say the hospital tour is probably the most interesting thing that's happened. Trying to think if I ate anything. Should you guys eat anything out of the ordinary or anything exciting? Besides Brandon, of course. No? Okay. It really was. It was just a lot. It was just kind of a vanilla week. Okay, that happens. All the holiday stuff's coming up soon, so I'm sure we'll have lots
getting ready for some things to eat.
Yeah,
that's true. What do you guys here? We'll talk about it real quick. But what do you guys generally do, or what does your families do for like Christmas dinner, like around the actual Christmas day? I guess is what I'm thinking. Do you guys do? What does your family do, Katie?
We usually day before. My dad's side of the family all gets together like Christmas Eve, and then my mom's side of the family gets together Christmas Day. That's usually, tradition, I guess. So nothing like crazy, but yeah, just it's fun, getting to see everybody who I don't really see too often.
Yeah, it's always good seeing family. My mom usually does. I think she does Christmas ham a lot of times.
I was going to say ham's like a popular Christmas dish.
Yeah, ham's very popular. Dude, ever since you were talking about I think I'm gonna push for roast, like the not roast beef. What did you have? Yeah, the prime rib, yes. Dude. Ever since you've been talking about that, I've been like, I don't think I can get it this year. Actually, I'm giving her a grandchild. You know what? I might be able to push.
You can. I was gonna say you got some leverage this year.
I have a little leverage this year, so I might ask. I might say, Mom, hey, can we try the prime rib thing out? She might be down. But my mom usually does like a really we do a later, at least on Christmas Day, we do like a later brunch, breakfast kind of stuff, which is always really good. She does like quiches and it's always so good. And then she usually does ham later in the day. But yeah, dude, I want prime rib, man. I want to make my own goddamn horseradish sauce.
Gotta do it. You gotta do it. I think we're actually gonna do that for Christmas because
you guys are just every holiday from now on. It's gonna be
because I showed obviously I showed my mom like the pictures and stuff, and so she was excited for me to make that at home. And so I was like, let's do it.
Yeah, that's good, man. What about you, Christmas Yang? What do you Canadians do?
Well, my family also does the prime rib thing. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so I was gonna bring it up, like, hey, Scott, you really, but like, no, actually, you guys apparently have already had this conversation, so I can vouch for how
good the prime rib is.
How good it is, yeah. Like, especially because it's the only time of year that we ever really do it. Like, there's no other occasion that gets brought out. So
yeah,
it's the anticipation.
I got to get on the train. All right, we'll see what I can do.
It's a strong choice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about anything I could even like all of it. even though I enjoy ham eating it once a year, like it all pales in comparison to prime rib to me. I mean, turkey,
Really? Yeah.
there's not really, doesn't even seem to be a fair comparison between the other meats. So, all right. What have we been playing, boys? Katie's on, kick us off.
Ooh.
Start. Yeah.
The usual. Getting into some Valorant, always fun. Getting into more Dark Souls 3 PvP a lot, which is surprisingly still populated. And there are a bunch of different weapons to try. I'm just trying to familiarize myself with it. The hit reg, the netcode still isn't too great. There's kind of about a quarter-second lag on pretty much everything. So, but you kind of have to play around it. But that taken aside, I think Dark Souls is still like a good fighting game. Like it's got some pretty good PvP. And I just got a Absolver gifted to me by Rukanga. So going to be trying that out. That's like the fist fighting game with like a bunch of different fighting styles, like Drunken Master, things like that. So again, it looks fun. Hopefully that has good PvP. It looks interesting. Other than that, still continuing to play League of Legends. I don't know what it is. I don't know what brings me back to that. Yeah. I was after.
I'm a little concerned for you because I really feel like you're starting to get bit by the league bug, Katie. This is consistent.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I played it back in like 2012, and I was on it hardcore, and then I've been on about a 2-3 year break. And then I decided to get back into it, and I mean, it's still League. There's still some bullshit, all the time, and it's still impossibly toxic of a game.
Yes.
And the thing is, like, it's such a toxic game, and Riot knows it because the game is built around like toying with this toxic player base. Like you're constantly being rewarded for like doing like honoring another player, even in League. They like are enforcing you to do that. You actually get keys to open chests when you honor other players, and like the loading screens of the game are like, maybe you should try to do some jumping jacks before the game. How about you try taking some deep breaths? I'm like, dude, you know that this game is affecting people if you have to put this shit in. But what do? They don't fix the game. No, they keep it in. And here's the thing. I've actually heard that in the near future, they're adding in voice chat. At long last.
That's going to be amazing.
I cannot fucking wait. Of all the arguments I've lost to people in text chat, I will never lose another argument in voice chat.
That's true. That's true.
Over. So many keyboard warriors, they hook in on voice chat. They're like, why don't you No.
You're going to take the hardballer approach? Like, I was just thinking, because hardball, this is one thing I actually really miss about Counter-Strike since they took out the voice communication between teams at the time. Because, like, no matter how bad you were losing at halftime, you had a brief opportunity before it went live again for the second half to just scream whatever you wanted at each other. And they took that out. And Hardballer was the king of that because he would just scream over everybody in the loudest voice. So they would try to be talking. He'd be like, shut the, whatever, up for the entire time. It'd be like 30 seconds. And then it was so therapeutic. By the time we get over it, people would be like, my God, that guy's insane. I'd be like, yeah, that's so I feel like that's gonna be your approach. Is you're just
I can't imagine why they took that out.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that makes me very sad.
So
I did love watching you stream called World War II when that first came out, and then playing like Search and just the absolute insanity on the voice chat. Like that just kills me. I love that.
It's like part of it's weird. Like it's obviously a lot of it's terrible stuff, but some of it's just so funny. Like. Yeah, because COD brings that out, and it still has the older voice chat system. You're right. So
right.
It's fun to see that. It's like a warm blanket of toxicity that I could pull over myself. I can get right back into that headspace. Like I do it in CS already, but I'm calling people virgins. Like
right.
It's all like I'm just right back there. I don't care if I'm 30 years old. Like it's It's just
there's no age limit on that, dude. You're gonna be talking trash.
Okay, so you're playing League still. Okay.
Yeah, playing League, and voice chat's coming.
Are you playing ranked? Are you playing ARAM? What are you playing?
When I first picked it up again, I was getting into ranked, and I actually got placed in Silver 3, which
it's not bad.
It's not crazy, but I don't know if I'd really dedicate myself to the grind through ranked. I haven't really played another. I think I maybe played a couple of ranked matches after that. Got some W's. But I don't know if I have it in me to. I mean, it'd be nice to get gold or something, and get decent at the game. I mainly just play support and like Thresh or sometimes like Ashe. I'm a god with Thresh. God, Thresh is fucking crazy. I'm not gonna go on the League rant. I know no one wants to hear about that. But
no, it's good.
Yeah, ARAMs are fun still. You get to calm down. and it's like impossible to get tilted in ARAM, which is good for a lot of people to get tilted.
I haven't played an ARAM in a while, but I would like to jump back in at some point. I haven't played League in probably over a year now. So
it's doing a lot better, I like a lot of the new champions. They've completely redone the runes and masteries, which is something I can definitely get down with. Basically, there are no runes to buy. You just allocate masteries, and you can, you don't need to be level 30 to put all of them in, which is great because
I am level 30 because I'm not a noob. So
that's true. It's true. But yeah, it's just my complaint was before was like you would have to put in all that time to be at the same playing field as other players.
Yeah, I did always think the runes and mastery stuff was felt kind of stupid, or like it was a pain for the benefit it provided.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. But there's some cool stuff you can do. Like a lot of the runes just focus on new mechanics instead of just outright like stat boosting. There's actually a rune that lets you go into debt in the shop. Like you get more of a debt limit. Like you can buy items. Like say you start off with like 150 gold debt, you can buy an item that'll put you in the negative, so you can buy items earlier. Which
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
I hadn't thought about that as a concept, but I feel like that could be an interesting concept to tie into a MOBA, like being able to go in debt.
Yeah, definitely. Because the way it works out is like you mainly have a free 200 gold to spend at any time, basically. So it's fun. And there's also like if you kill a ward, it gets replaced by another ward. Anytime you step in the bush, it drops a Poro off who can act as a ward but can be killed. So just some cool stuff. And it's pre-season right now, so a lot of OP shit is breaking out. Like I think it's like an Ezreal like currency build. There's like a rune that involves getting items through hitting enemies with spells, and apparently that's kind of broken on him. But I mean, it's preseason. They'll probably work it all out. Hopefully. What am I talking about? It's the league. Of course, they're not gonna fucking work it out. But yeah, playing some more of that, and I also started the first Devil May Cry because I wanted to kind of get through that series because I keep hearing the rumors about Devil May Cry 5 coming out soon, possibly. So that's a series I'd like to have played all of them beforehand. And yeah, it's fun so far. I might not finish it. It's the mechanics are kind of dated because right now it's just basically you have one combo and you have like a couple moves you can do. It was one of like the first PS2 action games, and it actually feels a lot like Resident Evil in some ways. Like there are a lot of locked camera angles. You're in a mansion, a lot of finding keys to open doors, because apparently Devil May Cry 1 was going to be Resident Evil, but actually got switched to it got switched to Devil May Cry after they decided it was too different. So a lot of that's still left in there. Just like overall sound design and everything. Like it's very on the nose with Resident Evil. So, but that's been fun. Hopefully we'll have that finished by the next cast. And so yeah, it's been a decent week in game.
Gotcha. Very cool. What about you, Ying? You been playing League of Legends like Katie?
No, I've gone through and I have never played a second of that game. And every time I mention it, every time I've even in Twitch chat, I've said like I've kind of given the thought to giving League a try.
People are like, no.
The next full minute of chat is just highlighted red with people adding me saying don't do it. So it's a pretty compelling reason to stay away.
Yeah.
What I have been trying to do is been trying to play more City Skylines. I've been wanting to try out more of the DLC because apparently that's
kind of like League of Legends. So
City Skylines, yeah,
very
that's what I heard.
Definitely a MOBA.
But I mean, like, people have been telling me that the DLC things like Green Cities, which I guess is giving like more green-friendly tech, like ways to power your city, and then some of the seasons updates that'll make like Snowfall and bringing you different seasons. I've been meaning to maybe buy like a couple of the DLCs and then try to play them again all at once, because I tend to stream that game too. So I've been trying to maybe try to get a couple more streams in before the end of the year, because of course it's the last month for Extra Life for this year. And we're creeping up on $3,000 raised, which is crazy to think about. Nice. Because I started this year with a goal of 1,000. So I hoping I can get a couple of extra streams in. Maybe we can push it to 3,000 before the end of the year. But mostly
maybe
what I've
an
been playing
incentive for you to try League of Legends.
Yeah, that'd be
maybe a little goal, gang.
Gotta
League of Legends
get creative
for
Yeah, maybe if we get $3,000, I'll try League of Legends. I mean,
be a good stretch goal. I like it.
But the other thing I've been playing for the most part, I haven't really been playing Skylands. I've been doing a little bit, but the thing I've been spending most of my time with has been, of course, the new Destiny 2 content, with the raid layer coming out and the Osiris expansion. I've been playing with that with the usual crew, a bunch of the guys from KBMOD, and then a bunch of people from Scott's community. And I don't know if we plan on talking about that later. I mean, I'm sure most people have heard about some of the bigger news that came out of this expansion, but I mean,
hit it up now because I don't know if we'll get to
tell me about it, because I actually haven't bought the DLC, and I'm not sure if I'm going to, so I need you to sway me one way or the other.
Okay. I mean, it's hit or miss. It's hit and miss, this one. There's a lot of good changes that are incoming. Tuesday is going to be a big day for updates, introducing things for like quality of life. Little things that the Destiny community have been asking for a very long time, since the launch of Destiny 2 at least. And they're all going to sort of be hitting the game all at once. The actual expansion itself has been fun so far. The story is fine. But the big thing is that they've introduced a new light cap, so you have more grinding to do, a couple of new weapons, new exotics. The biggest news story I think has come out of it so far is a particular weapon shipped with a very serious bug. It's an exotic weapon called the Prometheus lens. And it's in PvE, it's not that great because it functions as it was intended to. It's this beam weapon that is supposed to do relatively consistent damage, and it has like it does some weird AoE at the end of once you're done shooting it. But unfortunately, in PvP, for whatever reason, the damage is through the roof on the thing. Time to kill in Destiny is quite long. I would say the average person will die after maybe 2 to 3 seconds of constantly being shot.
Right.
The Prometheus lens does this in about less than a second.
Wow.
And so Crucible, the PvP mode, has been absolutely busted instant that DLC dropped. Because, I mean, the few elite that get the Prometheus lens dropped to them early on have just been running the show on Crucible. And then, of course, as more people get it, you just end up running into teams that are basically playing some weird light show to kill each other, because there's just beams going across the entire map that are one-shotting pretty much anyone that they touch.
Oh, Jesus.
And then,
so why wouldn't they have just disabled the weapon in PvP?
That was one of the thoughts. So, of course, this went on for like maybe a day and a half before Bungie tweeted out saying, we're aware of the Prometheus lens. It shipped with a bug. This is not how it's supposed to function. We'll talk about it in our update tomorrow, how we're gonna resolve this. And the short of that is that the fix is coming on Tuesday with all of the other patches that they're going, all the other fixes that they're introducing. In case people are unaware of why they're doing that and why they didn't hotfix, is because it costs money for them to patch on console. They literally will have to pay to introduce a patch. So like hotfixing requires extra money from Bungie, and if they're introducing an update anyways, I'm guessing they're just bundling it in with this big update they plan on doing anyways. So instead what they did, and I don't have like a very solid understanding of Bungie's history for doing this kind of thing, but apparently this is a very Bungie move. Their fix to this was not to do nothing and just wait for a Tuesday to hit.
Right.
Jur, who is a vendor that comes around every now and then and sells very rare weapons, came along this week, and of course he's selling the Prometheus lens.
Oh my god.
So Bungie allowed everyone in the game to collect this death beam.
What?
So that, I guess, with the philosophy that instead of having a few people with the Prometheus lens that can run the show in Crucible and get rewarded for just so happening to like exploit this bug with this weapon, they decided to give it to everyone, because if everyone is OP, no one's OP. So it's not I guess it's not the worst fix in the world. I guess the alternative was to try to remove it from matchmaking. But I'm not quite sure if that would have fallen in the lines with like a hotfix or something that they would have had to introduce, and it would have been the same thing. If it's the same process, they would have might as well have just fixed the bug. So I guess some people are saying, like some people are okay with it. Obviously, most of the community is very, very upset in classic Destiny community fashion.
Sure. No.
But you know what? I actually don't hate the change. Like, it shipped with a bug. They're kind of limited in what they can do. And instead of just letting a few people be rewarded for exploiting a bug, they just turned PvP for the week into a laser tag match, I guess. But that was sort of the biggest thing that came out of that, was that a weapon shipped with a very serious bug that's broken PvP. And it's only going to be fixed this coming Tuesday.
I saw clips of that, and it just looked absolutely absurd. I mean, I didn't like the Crucible to begin with, but when I saw that, I was like, that just turns it into a complete debauchery.
I mean, this is akin to what happened in Counter-Strike Global Offensive with the R8, where it was overpowered as fuck, and all of the matches were just R8 for the couple days that it happened before they removed it. It's like, it's like instead, it's like almost like them. They like removed all the other guns and they doubled down. If I was like, well, all right, now everybody's just gonna use it now. Yeah, it's kind of it's interesting. That's bizarre, kind of. But you're saying, if it's Bungie's, if people aren't that surprised, then maybe that's just how they do that kind of shit.
I think it's kind of a creative fix. I mean, like, it hasn't ruined the game for me by any means. I just thought it was kind of funny that I guess their resolution to this, at least in the meantime, was to just give everybody the weapon so that no one can exploit it, right? Or at least so that everyone can exploit it. So it's not really an exploit anymore. So, but I mean, we hopped into the regular crew that I play with. We tried to hop into trials, which is sort of the pinnacle PvP activity. And of course, I mean, there's this weird intro, like there's this intro section where you can see the other team's loadout, which is usually like important because you want to see what kind of range they're playing with.
Right.
And we played maybe, I think, 2 or 3 trials matches, and I was like, we can't do this. This is just so awful and grueling to play through. Only in the sense that it's not anything like how Destiny PvP has normally worked. If I'll say anything, the matches have been faster than ever because everyone's just dying so quickly.
Just instantly.
I was gonna say maybe that's actually a good change, because if you're doing a quest for the Crucible, you can just get it over with quicker.
That's exactly what's happening. Some people are saying, like, because you'll still get rewards for completing Crucible. So some people have just been hopping into the Crucible and just burning a couple of matches because everyone just gets burnt out so quickly in the matches. But as far as the actual expansion itself, I mean, it's fine. If you didn't enjoy the base game of Destiny 2, like the expansion is not going to sell you on the game any further. It's kind of like expanding the content as it is. It kind of gives you a little bit of extra storyline. There's a couple of extra activities. I think the big thing to look out for is, if you're on the fence, is to sort of just keep up with how other people feel about the game after these updates hit on Tuesday, because those are like what people are really waiting for. The expansion was just, it was a planned expansion, but people are really excited for the quality of life updates that are coming in to see how they affect the game. There's going to be a couple of new features that give people more to grind for. For example, they're introducing something called Masterworks weapons, which are sort of like, there are legendary weapons, which are the second rarest weapons you can get, and those are sort of the most common weapon that you'll see used in PvP, because they'll be the best. They'll be the next best thing compared to exotics. Which, of course, you can only have like one exotic weapon equipped at a time.
Right.
But Masterworks give you the opportunity to get, I guess, a slightly better version of that weapon with a couple extra perks. And there's opportunities to roll those perks so you can get the set that you want. And it's apparently quite a bit more akin to Destiny 1 in that you're trying to get this weapon's extra behaviors and perks to be exactly the way that you want, giving basically people another way to sink time into the game. So, I mean, if you can try to keep up with how those updates roll out and whether those are received well, at that point, I would buy the expansion, because if you like the direction that the game's going in and you don't have the expansion, you're unfortunately kind of limited in how much of the end game you can take part in, which is, I guess, the other part of the controversy, is that you don't have the DLC, you don't have the expansion, you're locked out of a couple of the activities just because the light level for a lot of the end game activities will have increased.
It kind of seems like WoW in the sense that when a WoW expansion comes out, you basically upgrade. Like, no one continues playing WoW without the expansion, even though technically you can.
Yeah.
There's just no point in doing so.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, the expansion is fine. It's not going to sell you on the game if you didn't like the vanilla version of the game. But keep up with. I would say keep an eye out for how these quality of life updates are going to affect the game. If you like what you see, then I'd say go ahead and purchase the DLC so you can keep playing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna keep my eye on what you think of it, Yang. We'll see if I hop back into Destiny.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Real quick.
All right. So, yeah.
Sorry, I did forget one thing that I played. I want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
the open beta for only on PS4 for
Monster Hunter.
Yes.
How was it?
Yeah. I haven't really played too much of it yet. I've just been doing I've been wanting to do all the missions in single player, then do some multiplayer people. By the way, totally down play that with you, sir, if you're available. I know you've got
Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, I think we'd have fun. But,
we would. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a really, really fun game. I know it's going to be a must-buy on PC. It's just been, and I've watched a lot of streams of it too, and it looks like it's just really fun co-op, and it looks like a beautiful game. I just want to throw that in there.
All right. Brandon, what about you? What did you play this week?
I've played just about nothing.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
I wanted to finish Wolfenstein, but I didn't get around to it. And with my mom visiting, we've been doing other stuff. So just one of those weeks, one of those weeks where you feel like an adult and you realize that you haven't had time to play any games.
No video juegos.
Yeah, that's why it's so great. It's so great that streaming exists so that I can still feel connected to games even when I don't play them myself.
Great point.
There actually is a huge library of games that you can conveniently play from your phone anytime. So have you considered the App Store, getting into some mobile gaming?
Mobile gaming. Have you ever heard of Temple Run?
Temple Run.
I'm just throwing some names out there.
That sounds like a game with some pretty rich lore. Maybe I could get into.
Definitely.
Have you played Clash of Clans?
Clash of Clans. Wow. I don't know. I've never heard of these titles, but I should look into them.
They're underground.
They're underground and pretty indie at this point.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I'll
have to dig past the top 100 on the App Store. See what I can find when I dig a little deeper.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Nintendo has some good stuff. I feel like they've pretty much consistently made good mobile games. I mean, I haven't put a lot of time into them, but like the new Animal Crossing is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a nice tip from KD to you, Brandon. Hey, you big idiot. How about you play some mobile games?
Okay. Hold on.
Yeah,
how did I miss that? Paraphrasing the quote from KD. But.
I don't know how I missed all these opportunities for gaming. I do have some games installed on my phone. I find that I don't ever really play them anymore.
I've never been able to play any kind of game seriously on my phone ever. I've tried so many times. I'm even so more so with the handheld. I've talked about this, but I had an original Game Boy, and I could play it here and there, but I could never really get into it when I was a little bit younger, for sure. But once I had a console and a computer, I was like, I just viewed it as inferior, and I couldn't do the stuff I wanted to do. I'm like, man, I'm limited with like how I can control the game and all that kind of stuff. And
right,
I don't know.
There are some games that work well on like
I
phones.
feel like Hearthstone and stuff works good on.
But that's the thing. Like when the chance that I get to be on my phone is when I'm on the train, like going to or from work. But I can't play something like Hearthstone that requires an internet connection because my internet kind of goes in and out. And I feel like that more and more games, you kind of have to have an internet connection of some sort. And so the games that I still enjoy that I occasionally play are ones that you can play fully offline. But I feel like those are becoming more few and far between these days.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, all right. I will go here real quick. I don't have anything too super new. I'm still hate fuck playing NBA 2K18. Good amounts of it. I say hate fuck playing because we got a crew of like 5 other guys that are playing it on PC with me, and we started to try to hit the park mode, which is the multiplayer variation of the game. Right. And it's just so fucking frustrating because all of these people spend so much money on VC that we get there. I'm there with my 75 after 100-something hours of grinding. A couple other people in the group did buy VC, but we won't name their names. I roll with them, but I am a little ashamed.
Don't out them here.
But I won't out them here. And So you go, and this is where again the scumminess of 2K really comes through, because you can instantly, depending on how much VC you buy, with very little gameplay and a lot of money, you can instantly be 75 and 85, get to a 90 pretty easily. And so there's a lot of people that play the park mode that are just they have no fundamentals. They're terrible, but they're geared out. They've got like a haircut that's like 6,000 VC. They've got like tattoos that are like $50 on their chest and stuff. And they're better too, because obviously their characters are a lot better. So, they can hit threes more consistently. They're 7'2", they're in the post, and it's like, how am I supposed to block this? I'm 5. I mean, that's also my fault, because I made my character my realistic height, my actual height. But it really crystallizes in pure anger when you're playing a game close and you're like we've won one game against a group of people last week that were, I think it was like a 90 and like an 89 and a 91, right? And we legitimately beat them with a group of 3 people that were not any higher than 75, which is a pretty big accomplishment, and not I mean, to be fair, they were very bad at the game. But it's so frustrating, because it's everything wrong with the whole pay to get better and then beat people because you just paid more money. Like, I feel like the more I think about it, I was saying this last night to them, it's like sports games to me should be a safe haven from that stuff, and should truly be focused on the grinding of the gameplay. Like, you shouldn't be able to just instantly be a level 85 if you spend $120 and then beat everybody else in the game on the park because you spent the money. It's like, this is a sports game. It's like injecting steroids into your player is basically what it is, for no effort. And so again, I know I'm preaching to the choir and all this, but I really still enjoy the My Career mode and stuff like that with the game that I'm playing, the My Player mode. But the park stuff, it's like, I'm so frustrated. I'm like, I'm not gonna come back here until I'm like at least an 85 or higher.
I'm kind of surprised that they let people retain those advantages in the multiplayer mode.
Yeah,
that seems like you would want to have an even playing field, and like if you had spent money to level up your character or something, that only applies to the offline, like single player type stuff. Exactly. But allowing that in multiplayer seems wild.
And that, I mean, 2K just continuing to innovate, man. Just continuing. I mean, it's just, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, again, it's already scummy enough, but you could be like, all right, whatever. If it's single player and people just don't want to grind and they want to spend the money, that's on them. But yeah, the fact that it just carries directly over into the multiplayer is essentially inexcusable. But there's not really any, I mean, there might be outright, but apparently 2K, again, I said this last week, it's been like this so long that there's really, it's just like, it's the way it is. I mean, if you literally go on the subreddit and say, hey, I'm a 75 and I've been playing for 100 hours, dude, and I'm getting destroyed by people who are 90s in the park. You know what the response is on the subreddit? Buy VC. I'm not kidding. From everybody. Buy VC. You idiot. Buy VC. You got to spend money, dude, if you're going to be good. That's it. And so they've already done the heavy lifting of brainwashing these fucking mongoloids who just think that that's how you play sports games. And it's too late. And that's a shame, because the game, again, I say this every time, the gameplay is just so fucking good. But it's surrounded by so much other shit. So I don't know. It's just frustrating.
I cannot think of a more frustrating gaming experience than to lose a game to someone who refuses to play along the basic foundations of like how that competitive scene is actually supposed to run out. Like throwing out the basics of how you play a basketball game and still winning because you just have such a massive statistical advantage that you purchased.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I'm trying to transplant this because I don't have a very good grasp for most sports games, but I'm trying to transplant that into, like, imagine like that was the case in CSGO.
Sure.
Where people will not play, people are pushing all over by themselves and they're not aiming properly. But it doesn't matter because they have 10 times your health and all of their shots will one-shot you, right?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't...
I mean, it's truly it's the pay-to-win nightmare model that people talk about. I mean, it really is. But on top, it's a pay-to-win nightmare model on a game that isn't a free-to-play. So it's even worse because it's a $60 game off the bat. And then they're already, like, you load it up, dude, you'll get things that say, hey, VC is 20% off. It's like, get the fuck out of my face on the main menu about VC being 20% off. I spent $60 on this game, and I can't even play in my park because I won't spend any more money out of principle until I grind to that level. So yeah, no, Yang, it's crazy. I I don't know people right. I mean, I need the Washington Post to do a write-up or something. We need outrage. I just don't, and I shouldn't blanket everybody and say everybody in the 2K community is like that, because it's not. I'm just saying I've seen a lot of stuff that people have said, and I even just playing the game, people will come in my chat and be like, dude, buy VC. And it started out as a meme, and now it's like people in my chat know that I'm doing this playthrough without buying VC. So people will say it, but they're legitimately, when I play 2K, there will be like 12-year-olds or maybe older that come in and they just say it like, dude, buy VC. I don't understand what the big deal is. Like, you're complaining about your player's not good. There is a solution. Spend money. And it's not even, there's no processing of the thought because it's so ingrained.
Well,
and
it's
just a fucking shame.
How used they are to, you can tell how accepting they are of that train of thought too, because those people in your chat get banned very quickly because they won't shut up about buying VC. They'll just repeat it over and over and over again, as though like, hey, yeah, he gets it, but he said he's not buying VC. Right. And they'll just say, no, buy VC. It's like, all right, take a time out. Like, they're literally bots. It's what it feels like.
It does. It does feel like bots. And the other thing I want to mention, which again, this is not necessarily related to VC. This is just terrible design decisions. The whole thing they did with 2K18 this year is everything. So when you load into your My Player, all of the menus are done in this open world, like city block environment. There's no like, you can't just go like, hey, let's queue my park, invite everybody to the lobby and wait. No, everything you have to run to. And all the stuff is set up like fucking a block or 2 blocks away from where you have to go. So it's like, do I need to go and pick up my VC from these bets that I made? Okay, guess I got to run for literally 30 seconds. Like, it's so infuriating because you can't even go to like a classic like menu and be like, hey, dude, can I just do this? I mean, I'm not even kidding. The other night, it was the group that we were trying to play with. We're trying to play this mode that's called Pro-Am, where it's 5v5. And it's, first of all, it was a nightmare to get everybody on the same team because of technical issues. We finally did. And we were trying to all queue together in the same instance because, yes, it's a sports game, but you have to be in the correct instance as your friends to be able to see each other like a fucking MMO. It's fucking crazy. So we all get into the same instance. And then we're having issues with the game crashing, people not being loaded into the lobby, people disappearing from our party. And then we finally get everybody in, and then there's nobody fucking queuing for the game mode that we want. After, I swear to God, we spent an hour and a half doing nothing but running around in this fucking open world nightmare scenario, going from fucking menu to menu, because that's what the buildings are. They're just menus. A lot of them aren't even marked. So you don't even know where to go. It's just, it's incredible to me. You know what it does? It's a perfect example of a game which is the only basketball game on the block, because NBA Live has been a trash game for years. Like, the actual gameplay of it, everyone thinks it's a joke. EA tried to get back into it. It's only on console, though, so it's not even on PC, even if I wanted to do it as an option. But nobody takes NBA Live seriously. So 2K is the juggernaut, right? They're like, they might as well just purchase the NBA license for nobody else to be able to use. And since they're the juggernaut, they can do whatever they want because they know people are going to buy the game no matter what. So this, I mean, and again, if you want another example of, again, I'm bringing this back to net neutrality now, but if you want another example of how people are like, yeah, dude, big companies who have monopolies don't do nefarious things. I mean, 2K is the prototypical example of that. They have no competition. So they can literally do whatever the fuck they want, and they do. I don't think 5 years ago, if you told me that a sports game allowed you to pay to win and then play multiplayer against anybody else, whatever rating they were, you could basically be the god player that you want to be with no effort. You'd be like, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, you'd be like, oh, I can see that happening in some hellscape scenario. No, it's just, it's not only, it is happening, and it's not even a second thought for people 99% of the time. So anyway, I know I had to get it all out. It's like, I say I play, hate, fuck this game. I hate, fuck, play this game. Sorry, that was the order that I'm looking for, because I fucking hate so many things about it, but I can't stop playing it. I
mean, I'm going to stick to the original thing that we talked about when you first started playing this. All those people who bought VC, they did not have the opportunity to experience the journey that you've experienced. Like, yeah, they essentially paid to play less of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's like, it's a weird side effect of how fucking broken it is that I am enjoying it this much. So I am grateful. Like, you pointed that out a couple weeks ago too, or a month ago, about like the grind is so, it's infuriating and satisfying, because I have seen, like, so there's cutscenes that happen in the game where 2K assumes at this point, because I've played 102 fucking hours of this game, and I'm way farther along than I am. So, like, at one point, my manager comes over to my crib, and he's like, dude, this crib is fucking insane. Look at all the stuff you've done. And I have nothing. I can't afford it. All the VC I get is going into my character. But at that point, 100+ hours in the game, playing through almost an entire NBA season, the game just assumes that I've decked it out. So that's the cutscene I get. So there's a lot of stuff happening like that where it doesn't even make sense. Where they talked about my pad, I'm like, dude, it looks exactly the fucking same from the day that I joined the team, an entire season ago. It's just frustrating. So again, and it's so far gone that I don't think it's ever going to change. Like, I don't think 2K19 is going to come out and they're going to be like, we really dial back the VC stuff, because I mean, I don't see the outrage, and I think they'll just dial it up if anything. So it's a pain. Honestly, if I would love to see like a legitimate contender to that franchise, but yeah, they're so big. They're like almost like, not that they're too big to fail, but I don't think there's ever any kind of Battlefront 2 level outrage that will ever happen with this community. I can't ever see it happening. It doesn't mean that there aren't people that are equally as annoyed by it as I am. I mean, I'm a newcomer. I just really started playing this game in 2K18. I mean, I played the 2Ks way back in the day on like PlayStation 2. But it was totally different. There was nothing like this. So, I fucking don't know. Anyway, so I've been playing that. I've been playing Counter-Strike and some other stuff, but that's the main thing I wanted to talk about. It's such a frustrating thing. I would say if you're gonna buy it, because it is a really good basketball simulation, like it really is. Right. Get it fucking on sale, or I mean, I can't tell people to. I won't say that, but just get it on sale or get it reduced. Don't pay $60. Because inevitably, and then that way you could even mentally say like, hey, I bought it for $40. I have $20 to spend on VC, and then it will be $60 game. And then because then people do the mental gymnastics with that. It's just, anyway. So anyway, that concludes my NBA 2K18 triggered moment. But let's move on. Let's move on from that to some news and some good stuff, I think, because guys, I don't know about for your money. I think the Game Awards this week was the best Game Awards that we've ever had. What we've had so far to this point.
I completely agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I didn't really expect it to be like that. I again, there's always some cringe and whatever whenever you do a live show, or, some moments that don't work and all that kind of stuff. But I genuinely enjoyed pretty much the entire event. I mean, sure, there was like, it was very ad heavy throughout.
Yeah.
But there were so many good moments in it that I think it was pretty solid. What were some of your guys? We want to talk a little bit about the stuff that won as far as the game categories, but what were some of your guys' like favorite moments before we discuss the winners?
I thought the live orchestra was fantastic. I loved that they actually I feel like they capitalized on how well the Doom soundtrack live went over and decided to basically do something like that for the entire performance, and I thought they were fantastic. I think that's what made it for me. Like, having the live music performance adds so much to pretty much any kind of event that you want to do. Them having such a high quality orchestra playing video game soundtracks was just fantastic. I think that was probably my favorite part about the production.
I agree. Yeah, I thought it was great when they did the Mario Odyssey music and they had the singer there. And then my excitement nosedived when I heard that she was lip syncing. And that was very disappointing. But other than that, I mean, they played a good amount of Persona 5 music. So, pretty good stuff. I agree with you. Yeah, it was a great orchestra.
Yeah, orchestra was great. Obviously, the French gentleman who
we've got to talk that.
Yelled told the Oscars to go fuck themselves. That was definitely one of the more memorable moments. And then obviously, since his game is being published by EA, actually it was like, sometimes publishers fuck up and EA fucked up. I mean, the whole thing. I mean, really, I actually thought Jeff Keighley did an incredible job, because actually, as somebody that's hosted some stuff in my day as an old man, like, that is, I mean, and that never on something that grand of a stage, but that is, I mean, I was just imagining what the guys in the production room were doing during that entire segment, because it went way longer than they wanted it to. He was very unpredictable. He's clearly very toasted on, we can speculate on what things he was toasted on. and he wasn't having it. Like Jeff kindly tried, multiple times, was like, hey dude, all right, let's try to bring it back to your game. Let's show the trailer. And he wasn't having it. He was going to say what he was going to say. And anyway, I think as far as hosting goes, that was pretty masterfully handled. Like he didn't get too flustered. He kind of smiled the whole time. I mean, you could tell he was uncomfortable, but he kept it together. And that's hard to do, man.
Yeah.
Especially in a live show like that. Like, I think he handled it really well. And you know what? It ended up being like one of the better moments of the whole show. It was really hilarious. So I mean, and talk about publicity for your game. I mean, that's actually brilliant. Even if he was over the top for the sake of being over the top, he said, he said fuck the Oscars, which people loved. He apologized kind of for EA. I mean, his game's being published by EA, but he admitted they fucked up. So I mean, I think a lot of people that didn't know about that game anyway are going to be like, oh, I just want to play that French dude's game who went off, which is pretty brilliant marketing for yourself. I mean, that's really what these shows are too. One thing I thought that was really interesting, people come in the chat and be like, this game's just a giant advertisement. It's like,
yes,
what award shows are. That's literally what they're for. Like the awards, I mean, okay, you can say like awarded by your peers, but at the end of the day, these things exist to sell advertising space at all, really, at the end of the day, especially televised ones or ones on the internet. So, I mean, there was pretty heavy-handed. I think the eBay thing was the funniest thing. We kept joking about that on the stream. Like they kept pushing eBay, and I was I forget what my exact quote was, but I was like, man, those commercials were so. I think those eBay commercials in general, because I've been seeing them on cable too, are almost like insulting. It's like, but did you check eBay, you fucking idiot? It's like, no, of course I didn't check eBay. Who goes on eBay anymore, ever? So anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. The eBay pushing.
It was, yeah.
But what else were good moments? I mean, the orchestra was great. I agree with that. I mean, we have to talk about the Death Stranding trailer. I mean,
oh my god!
Everyone was like, they got to be showing Death Stranding. You've got Kojima. You've got director Guillermo del Toro there. Yeah, like they're like this can't be an accident. They got to be showing something. And for the amount of hype already around that game from the bizarre stuff we've seen so far, for them to deliver a trailer like that just left everyone going like, what the fuck still is this game? But also be like just intrigued, have so many questions. I mean, it was beautiful, the music, the that was set in just like, I don't know how long it ended up being. Was it like 4 or 5 minutes total, maybe?
It was 8 minutes actually.
It was 8 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a long one.
I was just engrossed the whole time. I don't know about you guys. What did you guys think about the trailer?
Oh man, go ahead.
I understand nothing about it, and all I want to do is understand it. So I'm going to buy this game.
Exactly. No idea what's going on, but I need to buy it. I need to spend money on this. It was great. Also, saying a Hideo Kojima game was awesome, and I loved when Kojima and Norman Reedus came on stage. And Kojima goes, "We're back," and then Norman Reedus goes, "And no one's gonna stop us this time."
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure. But still a stunning trailer. It's just outrageous with that little baby doing the thumbs up. That was
the thumbs up down the whole thing. It hit all the notes of like, what the fuck, and creepy, and just incredible.
And then at the end, the memes coming out of that trailer more than the trailer itself, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
There were a lot of good memes.
It's such a unique feel. Like you've got it's serious, and then the baby doing the thumbs up, and then you hear Norman Reedus go, "Oh yeah," at the end. This is a unique vibe to this game. Like I hope it doesn't disappoint. I mean, I bet what's going to happen is that when they finally do show gameplay, there are going to be people going, "Oh, it's another third-person shooter," or whatever. Because I mean, you've got someone using a weapon like a gun, like a pistol. I mean, I can only imagine. He's already said it's going to be an action game.
Yeah.
So I feel like once they do the initial gameplay reveal, there is going to be some like negative backlash. But I mean, there always is. But I mean, I just assume. But we'll see.
I think most of us, like I think Ying said it too, but it's like most of us, like I don't, and I said this too. I don't really care what it is. I'm going to buy it and I'm going to experience it.
Yeah.
And I mean that really, kind of a blank. Like you're almost writing like a blank check. I mean, again, it'll be $60 or whatever, I'm sure. But like to be able to get that, like just from trailers and knowing the kind of work that Kojima can do, and the people around him that he's working with. It's like that's pretty rare, especially in we're such jaded gamers at this point. For somebody to be able to get like, I'll buy it. I don't even know if it's going to be my type of game, but I want to know what happens. I think that's kind of almost like the most brilliant use of what teaser trailers and, you know, not really revealing too much information about something can do. That's like a really good use of it, because a lot of people can try to, I think expectations breed disappointment in general, right? And it's like, sure, maybe this game will only end up being half as cool as the trailers, but I think they've already sold it to so many people anyway.
Right.
Not that they didn't because it's, you know, because of who's working on it, but they're continuing to build the hype. And I mean, that can be hard. Like, like eventually it's like, you can't keep topping yourself. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
And while we're on this, I'll throw it over to the day after the Game Awards. They had the PlayStation Experience, which there wasn't too much information as far as new announcements from there. But they did do a panel with Kojima and Andrew House, which is like one of the heads of Sony. And Kojima's talking about like getting the permission to use the engine that the devs from the devs from Horizon Zero Dawn use their engine. Talking about how they met up and Kojima didn't have anything. There was no contract. There was literally nothing. And they were like, please use our engine. We would love to have used our engine. And he said he almost was crying because of that. Just he was so humbled by it. Pretty cool story. Cool. Yeah, it was awesome.
Such an opposite feel from Konami, huh? Just slightly.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, well, actually supporting him instead of trying to sabotage him. That's, you know, a positive turn.
Stuff. And real quick correction. It is the developer that we're referring to as French is actually Swedish. Joseph Fares, I believe. I don't know how to say his last name.
Right.
I said French instead of Swedish.
Or would it be Joseph?
Joseph, yeah, probably Joseph Fares or Fair. I don't know. Fares. I don't know how you say that.
It's ambiguous. It's
close enough. But yeah. Any other moments before we jump into what actually won?
Oh, I'm ready to jump into some of these game announcements.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Talk about the oh yeah, we got. Well, I gotta ask you about. I mean, the elephant in the room, Katie, because when I was watching it, the only thing that I said was, as soon as the From Software thing happened, everyone was like, Bloodborne, another Bloodborne. I was like, Katie's in. I just added you. You weren't in my chat, unfortunately, but everyone was like, KB. Thoughts?
Oh, rest assured, I was in shock when that came up. It was but I mean, my first gut reaction is like, oh my god, Bloodborne 2. But after doing some more research, I'm not really going to pull the trigger on it being Bloodborne yet, because there are a lot of like signs that would make it obviously not Bloodborne 2. Like the music in the trailer featured a lot of like Japanese music that you wouldn't really hear in Bloodborne. In the background, there was like a scroll with Asian writing on it. And like there's one really small like bloodied bandage on the top left of that contraption that was in the 15-second trailer, which some people are calling Bloodborne from that. But there's some other signs. Like a lot of people are looking at this and saying it's going to be either another Tenchu game or it's going to be a new IP, like in the same way that Bloodborne was a Souls game but not a Dark Souls game. It might be just another Souls game in like maybe a Japanese setting. But because there's stuff like in the Asian writing, and then there's the kunai wrapped in the rope that you can kind of see if you mess with some of the brightness. But then I've also been hearing from people that I'm not sure if this is official, but word is getting around that the translated script on the back of that is like, I am Rigimaru, I am a shadow. Rigimaru being the name of the main character from Tenchu, and the shadows being...
which you would not be as happy with.
No.
Yeah.
No, I would be very upset.
What's your reservation for Tenchu?
It's not Bloodborne 2. That's it.
So it's just because it's not Bloodborne.
It's just not Bloodborne. So
I'm sure From Software will make a fantastic game, but I mean, you know, it's just it's kind of my own fault if it is Tenchu for getting my expectations up there.
I heard before the podcast you were like, I don't even really want to talk about it. You have every sign, Katie, of trying to temper your expectations, which is smart. It's a good life. It's a good life thing to do. But I can tell you're excited, but you don't want to be crushed, so you're trying to keep your expectations like low. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's From Software and it's their new project they've been working on for a really long time. So I have no doubt that they'll make a good game regardless. I could see them doing, because a lot of people said the tone of the trailer was just not Tenchu at all. But I could see them, and then From Software also, they've never made a Tenchu game aside from one spin-off they did that wasn't too good. Apparently from what I've heard.
Saw that.
So yeah, it could be either way. Definitely not a Neo 2 that came out this year. But I mean, we'll see. But one thing I am getting very excited about with absolutely little reservation is when my boy Reggie comes on stage.
Oh, Nintendo.
Oh yeah, saying Bayonetta 1 and 2 coming to Nintendo Switch. That's fine. That's great. Still losing all hope that Bayonetta 2 will ever make its way to PC. But then Jeff's talking to him saying, thank you for flying out. Reggie goes, you really think I'd fly out here for just one announcement?
That's right.
And me and my friend Miles, aka Katie's and Howdy, we're watching this. We're both gigantic Bayonetta fans. We're looking at each other going, no. And in the trailer, and then the trailer, oh yeah, it confirms Bayonetta 3, baby, coming soon. All I want to know, what's her hairstyle gonna be, dude? What song are they gonna do? Damn, Bayonetta is some of the best action games ever made, and I can't wait for more from that series. So I'm excited.
Gotcha.
But yeah, a couple other new announcements of games. The Firewatch devs have a new game coming out called The Valley of Gods.
That looked really interesting.
Or In the Valley of Gods, sorry. Yeah, that looks really well made. Just more from that studio.
Some of the animations were, even in the trailer, looked really, really well done.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and another announcement, all of my friends that were there watching the trailers are all really into fighting games, particularly, we all played Soul Calibur 2 back in the day.
Soul
Calibur. So when the Bandai Namco up there and he says, do your souls still burn? We just all lost our shit. And if you're interested in Soul Calibur 6, which got announced, we also there's like a 10-minute gameplay demo out of right now it's just Mitsurugi and Sofita are both confirmed. But it's just gameplay with them too. But if you want to see what it looks like, it's a lot of extended gameplay for you to look at. So yeah, that looks super fun. I can't wait to lab that game. But speaking of, I can do a little tangent real quick. 2018 is looking like it's going to be like such a fantastic year for fighting games. We've got Street Fighter V Arcade Edition coming out with a bunch of new content. Soul Calibur 6, Tekken 7 still going strong with new characters. Of course, Dragon Ball FighterZ coming out pretty soon. And the new Blaze Blue. Yeah, I'm really excited for all that stuff. But anyways, I think we should move on to the awards. Talk about these a little bit.
Let's talk about what won. And real quick, the elephant in the room: PUBG getting nominated for Game of the Year in a category with Super Mario Odyssey, Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. So my chat, I said there's definitely exists a world where PUBG could win. And all of us were bracing ourselves in chat to be extremely triggered if that happened. I think
in a different
the main conversation.
Year, I think PUBG could have won, but this was a very strong year in a lot of different ways.
Very good games that were nominated. I just think I think they need to lay down the law when it comes to Game of the Year should only include products that are finished, and I think that's a pretty easy distinction to make. Like they could make a category for.
Do you really?
Yeah, I really do. I don't like this idea of. I think they could make a category for early access Game of the Year or something if they want to, and all those games together. But I kind of have an issue. I have an issue with it. I don't like that it was in that same kind of. I think it's really out of place. It doesn't mean that it's not influential. Doesn't mean that it's not doing things that no other battle royale game has ever done.
Right.
I just think I'm old fashioned, man. I think you should stick with, more like that. The more traditional, like this game came out. It doesn't mean that games don't update or whatever, but like I think it should be a finished product as the old traditional side. Why do you not agree, Brandon? You don't think that matters?
I think it's more challenging to make that distinction over time.
Yes,
and I think PUBG is maybe the first example where it proves that distinction is hard to make, because let's say that PUBG decided not to leave early access in December, which they clearly did. They clearly did that specifically so that they would be, have the best chance to be eligible for various Game of the Year awards, which is this is a savvy, smart move to make. But let's say they didn't. I think that it would be challenging to say that PUBG is just sort of not eligible for some of these awards on a technicality when it has had a big influence on the gaming industry this year. And I think I think the awards, like, you want the awards to be more conceptual in nature than like technical in that sense. And so I think that it's I don't know. I don't have a great answer, But I think that over time, it only becomes harder to make that distinction because, like,
Right.
what is early access? Like, early access is a specific category of things on Steam, but what about if it's like a Blizzard game that's in beta, or a, you know, some game from somewhere else that's like doesn't have an early access title, but
Right.
but you know that it's not finished. Like, what about Fortnite? What about these other games?
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's that easy to
know.
make the distinction. And it's only going to be harder as time goes on, and you have games that, you know, release in a certain state but then catch fire, and I'm not sure. Maybe this, like, a lot of times I think this just doesn't matter because games don't reach the status.
Sure,
that
it's a
PUBG
rare
has reached.
instance. Yeah, it's a rare
But I
instance.
think that it's like we're only going to see more of those over time. Games that are sort of like a service, or I actually think we'll talk about it, I guess, but the best ongoing game is like an interesting idea for an award, because I think that there are so many games where the games change over time, and so we should be recognizing how games change, even if a game came out 5 years ago but is sort of unrecognizable today from what it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel like those games kind of get swept under the rug come awards season because it's not a new name on the game title.
Yeah, that was an interesting category. I was slightly triggered by what won, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I just think
I don't know.
Briefly on Game of the Year. I mean, it's reason I'm happy with the decision was because of the description that the Game Awards gave the category of Game of the Year. And I have no issue with their wording. So the description they gave was recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. So they didn't make the distinction between early access or anything like that, but they did take into consideration how well the game runs from a performance aspect. And I think that's a fair consideration when you're trying to decide what game was the absolute best. If they had just given a category that said delivers the absolute best experience across creative fields, then, like, listen, I would understand if PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds won. I wouldn't be happy about it because I would still think the technical fields deserve recognition. Yeah. But because they gave it that description, I'm proud of them just because I think their decision swayed heavily on that. I think probably PlayerUnknown's would have been like the runner-up or something like that. But because of this technical fields mention right there, I think that's probably why it didn't win out. And I'm just glad that they stuck with that, because in my eyes, if a game can be fantastic, but if I can't run it well, then it's not going to be the best experience for me, regardless of how creative it is.
Yeah. I think having the descriptions on each of their awards, I think is a really good idea, like just in general for awards shows, because I agree with you that Game of the Year, like, it can be an ambiguous concept, but because they put that description, I think there's sort of less argument, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields is like a really good, I think, template for what they wanted the award to be, and I think PUBG clearly, like, probably doesn't fit that bill according to that description.
Exactly. And I mean, this is similar to, like, it strikes me as almost like a mission statement for each award. I imagine this is the exact same wording that you know, this is the qualifier. Like, this is the bar by which all the games are being judged. So having set that standard, I think, not only makes it easier for the voting to take place and it justifies the winners, but it makes the final decision, I think, easier to understand, because you're right. Game of the Year can be really, really ambiguous.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some odd inclusions, like, you know, that being...
Should we run through them? Game of the Year, Legend of Zelda. I think that's you know, probably a pretty popular choice for Game of the Year.
Right. Yeah.
Super Mario Odyssey, I think, is probably a runner-up for a lot of people.
Yeah. That'd be my number one, personally. But, I mean, they're both incredible.
Yeah, once I saw this category, and after we talked ourselves down off the PUBG ledge of worst case scenario of that winning, because I agree with that description, it should not have won. I was like, it has to be a Nintendo title here. We really were pretty confident. So we were just more relieved PUBG didn't win. But my chat was like, yeah, I thought it might be Super Mario Odyssey, but All right, and then best game direction, Zelda also won for that one. It was against Wolfenstein 2, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. Just for the second half of that game, best game direction. I don't even think Resident Evil should be in there. But anyway, that's just me. Because I think the first half of that game is really good, and then the second half is a total bust, and that's not anyway. I was kind of surprised to see it in there because I think there were some other titles that were.
I feel like that
better.
award sort of feels like a building block toward getting Game of the Year, so I'm not surprised that Zelda got that one.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Best narrative kind of surprised me a little bit.
And I haven't played this, and actually it made me go like I need to play this because I've heard good things. But
it deserves it. I haven't finished it, but it absolutely deserves it.
Very solid.
Yeah, we're talking about, of course, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, which also won Best Audio Direction. And just once, I feel like in the first 10 minutes of the game, you'll understand why. Because they really urge you to play with headphones on.
Well, actually, Katie, for Best Narrative, that did not win Best Narrative.
Oh, I must be thinking of something else. My bad.
It did win other awards, but it did not win Best Narrative. What Remains of Edith Finch won Best.
That's right.
Yeah, Hellblade won Games for Impact and Best Audio Direction. Or Best
Start
Audio
the
Design.
podcast over. It's ruined.
Yeah, it's all right.
We're redoing it.
I mean, Best Art Direction. Was there any shock that Cuphead won? Everyone was like, Cuphead has to win.
Not at all. That was like hands down. Cuphead will win that award.
Yeah, I was hoping Destiny 2 would win to just make everybody super mad at Destiny.
Before we move on, just from that caveat, as much as I enjoy Destiny 2, I don't think it belonged in any of these nominations. Like, come on, dude! It basically just came out. Like, I really, really, really like the game, but please, having it all in all these nominations, like it did the game no favors.
Yeah.
I think that's one where also having the little description helps too, like seal Cuphead's victory. Like it says for outstanding creative and/or technical achievement in artistic design and animation.
Yes.
And Cuphead is just so unique that it seemed like a shoe-in after the reviews it got.
And if you've done any amount of research into what they actually did to achieve that, then like the painstaking animation process they went through, it's
we're talking like this is hand-drawn 60 FPS animations with an original jazz score. Like that alone should tell you on Cuphead winning that award.
Yeah, and Persona 5 also nominated, I think, as a close second because there's a lot of detail in that game as well. But compared to Cuphead, no contest, baby. Woo.
Katie Zen, you were probably pretty happy about Best Score in Music here.
Yeah, Best Score in Music went to Nier Automata, which I'm very happy with. Compared to all of these, I think it absolutely deserves it. It's like incredible soundtrack, like no exaggeration. That's just outstanding. And so I'm glad that took that home. I was really preparing myself for Nier not to win any awards. So for Nier Automata, and I'm not gonna go into like the history of the game and how for it to actually win a game award is huge for Yoko Taro. But that just made me feel really good about that. And a lot of bops, a lot of bangers in that soundtrack.
Nice. Moving on from that, Best Audio Design, that was Hellblade that you were talking about. It took Best Audio Design, and it also took Best Performance for Melina Jurgens.
Yeah, this was actually her first acting role.
Yeah. She actually wore her mocap suit as her or what looked like a mocap suit to accept the award. And I thought it was kind of funny. We were joking about how she roasted everybody because she's like, "I'm not even an actor." I mean, it was like she wasn't saying it to like gloat, but it was like just out of like pure surprise because she was nominated against some pretty, known commodities. So for her to be like, "I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing," but
it should not have been.
It was like BM.
If Brian Bloom had won, who does BJ Blazkowicz for Wolfenstein, he brings that character to life so well. But I think Hellblade's performance is like I think any of the nominees, like that's what I think. Like when I scroll back and look at all the nominees, there's not too many that I think don't belong there. I mean, it's just Destiny 2. Whenever I scroll through it, any other category, whenever I see like any of the other actors or actresses and looking through it, all the different games and nominees, like they all belong here, and I think that's another thing that I would give credit to the Game Awards.
Yeah. So there you go. And then the games for Impact, we talked about a Hellblade 1 for that because it deals really heavily with mental illness. So it got, I don't know some of these other games that it was up against, which look interesting. However, Life is Strange Before the Storm. We want to talk about things that should not be in these categories. Games, I understand why, because people are like, oh my god, it deals with really like teen issues accurately, but it doesn't. I don't think it deals with them really accurately, as we've talked about ad nauseum on this podcast. The fact that the dude just wrote the game and didn't even talk to teenagers. So, anyway, that one really stands out as like, get the fuck out of that category. Life is Strange. Come on.
Right. Yeah. Glad to see Night in the Woods here. I didn't play, but I know Ying did. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah. What did you think of that game? Yeah. Not really.
Okay. I don't know if how much I've actually talked about this game. I liked the direction that the game was taking, but then the end felt like they really needed to meet a deadline. The beginning of the game is so fleshed out. They give you so much time to learn about the characters and get acquainted with them. And then the game just kind of ends with no real impact on their personalities or anyone that you met. Then the entire game getting to know these characters, and it's inconsequential at the end of the game. Like, my fear throughout the entire game, and even though it's a fear, probably would have been a good thing, was like, great, so like, what kind of relationships with these characters is it gonna exploit to pull on my heartstrings and make me remember the game and have it impact on me? Like, it felt like they were really taking the relationships with that game somewhere, and then they just didn't. The game just kind of ended. So, I mean, I would imagine, I don't think it deserved to win. I think it felt like it really needed more time, because it felt like they wanted to do something with it and then didn't have the time to do it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Best ongoing game. Overwatch wins that one.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It's an odd category.
I'm okay with it because of who it's up against.
I was just going to say who it's up against is here. We got Warframe, Rainbow Six Siege, Grand Theft Auto Online, Destiny 2, and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. So I think
Destiny 2 being in this category is especially appalling. The game just came out. So like, are you really? I mean, well, let's awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time.
What the fuck?
Destiny 2 has not been out long enough to even remotely qualify here.
No, not at all.
If anything, I've heard people complain about hitting like a level cap and then having nothing to do aside from PvP.
I also think I agree that like PUBG probably should not be here either. Like this, if anything, this category strikes me as a game that these should all be games that did not come out this year. Right, this is like which games didn't come out this year, but they're still coming on really strong and sort of staying in the public mind share. And like, actually, I think Warframe's a decent example here, because like Warframe wasn't really even on the radar, I don't think, before this year, but it's been out a while. But a lot of people, I mean, I know a lot of people playing and trying Warframe, and like I think Warframe might have won the popular vote in like the extension. Like people could vote for it who were watching the stream. And a ton of Warframe fans in the stream, like spamming for that game to win. But I think Destiny 2 being here is just laughable.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Definitely.
I do want to, real quick, I just want to give Warframe an honest try at some point, because I talked about this a little bit before the cast started, but when I played Warframe for the first time, it must have been like when the game was first in beta, I guess, like when it was just like raid missions and like a galaxy, you'd click on where to go. But since then, the game has received like quite the overhaul. Like I was looking at, they actually did something for the Game Awards where a lot of players for Warframe would edit their own trailers for the game and submit them, and they played a few during the Game Awards, like intermissions. And there's some good ones, and one of them really showcased just how much the game has changed and how, like, at certain degrees, it looked like really open world. You could go fishing. There were like giant monsters, and I really liked the direction it was taking. So I think, I mean, especially being free to play, it looks like it's gotten a lot better. So I'm anxious to try that out.
Nice. All right, and then I'm going to run through these rapid fire real quick. If you want to stop me, go ahead. If you have anything to say. Best mobile game was Monument Valley 2. Best handheld game was Metroid.
I have some opinions on best mobile games, Scott.
Got some opinions on that one. Hot takes.
Yeah.
Best VR AR game. Now this one I thought might be a little. So Resident Evil 7 Biohazard won over Super Hot VR, which, I mean, I didn't play Resident Evil 7 Biohazard VR, but Super Hot VR was pretty fucking insane.
Yeah,
it was short, but obviously
Right.
the super hot is. But
yeah, I'm gonna complain about this real quick.
Also,
As someone who's
go ahead. No, go ahead. I was gonna say Star Trek Bridge Crew was also up for it for best VR AR game, which that game's a meme kind of. So that was
yeah, it kind of feels like the other three were just kind of like the only other popular
that
VR
existed.
games.
That could
Yeah,
have.
pretty much. Yeah, but I got a chance to play both RE7 and Superhot in VR, and like I played Superhot when I was in Pittsburgh, and I had a friend who had the PSVR set up, and like RE7, I mean, you're just playing Resident Evil 7, and you're able to look around. Superhot VR, the entire game is just an experience where you can, you could throw guns into other hands and do crazy shit, and it was just a game that was thoroughly mind-blowing compared to RE7. I mean, granted, you can play the entire game in VR and it's a much longer experience, but I mean, for the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, it's a no-brainer for Superhot VR. That's pretty much the only outstanding like one I disagree with Game Awards. So but yeah, I just want to put my thoughts out there on that.
Gotcha. Best action game, Wolfenstein 2 took that, which I think a lot of people.
Glad Wolfenstein went home with something.
Yeah,
well deserved.
Best action adventure game, Zelda Breath of the Wild won that one. Best role-playing game, Persona 5.
Woo!
Took that. I know Katie was happy with that.
Is Final Fantasy 15 on here? That came out in 2016. Huh? Anyways,
I think this category is kind of weird because they include MMOs in best role-playing game.
Yeah,
I think that's one where I think that category probably needs to be fleshed out a little bit more, because including an MMO with single-player RPGs, like those are so different.
Yeah, right, definitely. Best fighting game, Injustice 2 took that. Best family game, Super Mario Odyssey won that. Best strategy game, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle took that.
That one.
I heard surprisingly good things about it. Like I think the premise is disgusting.
Yeah,
but I heard it was good.
Sports games, shocker, NBA 2K18 didn't win, but Forza Motorsport 7, won that one. Best multiplayer, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds took that. It was nominated up against Call of Duty World War II, Destiny 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Splatoon 2. So I mean,
I think that's a fair award for PUBG to win.
Yeah,
I agree
that one
because it's hard to just.
Yeah, I'd probably give it to Fortnite. But
I personally enjoy Fortnite much more, but I can see why they gave it to Battlegrounds.
I understand it.
I get it. Most anticipated, Last of Us Part 2, which I think that makes a lot of sense.
Excuse
Red
me,
Dead Redemption
Scott,
2.
That is the most anticipated game presented by Mick Cafe.
Yes.
What the fuck? I didn't notice.
I forgot. I'm sorry. Presented by Mick
please
Cafe.
read the title of the award as intended.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes.
sir.
McDonald's needs to get all of their sponsorship money bang for their buck. Yeah, so Last of Us Part 2, I can see that. Red Dead Redemption 2 would have been my money because I'm super excited for Red Dead, but happy with either of those. Best indie game, Cuphead. No, I mean, deserved.
Right. Yep,
Best student game, Level Squared. Never played it, but trending streamer. I mean, trending gamer. Excuse me, Dr. Disrespect. I mean,
very deserved.
You can't. I mean, no one else in this category. I mean, I think he had to take it. So happy with that. Best esports game, Overwatch. Beats out Counter-Strike Global Offensive, folks. And Dota 2 and League of Legends and Rocket League. Beats all of them.
That one is obviously so. I mean, the subject of much debate.
Yes,
let's see. For the game that has delivered the best overall esports experience, also the capital is the S in esports. Are you kidding me?
Hold on. Wait. Okay.
Hold on.
I didn't see the categories because now I'm triggered.
Esports experience to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content updates, irrespective of genre or platform.
This is an odd category for me because none of these games were released in 2017. So I could see League, Dota, and CSGO being nominated for the next 3 years.
Oh, sure.
And honestly, and Rocket League. Like I think
Rocket League as well.
Rocket League is doing pretty well too.
But it's not about, for this category, it's not about when it's released. It's the fact that it had an esports scene in 2017.
Right. Exactly.
That's true. Yeah. Well,
like, same thing with ongoing games. Like those were not released in 2017, but they were ongoing games.
Right. That kind of gets varied up a little bit. I don't really see this category changing its 5 nominees anytime soon.
Yeah.
At least not wholly. But then if you remove the year restriction, it's pretty much the same thing as best multiplayer, so.
Yeah, I think Overwatch. I assume Overwatch wins this because it's it's the flavor of the month, and they're doing the most unique, different thing, and so that's what I mean. They continue
franchises to cities. So.
They continue to get news articles. Like people are going to vote on the thing that they're most aware of, and Overwatch has made the most news this year, for better or worse.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I understand why. I would definitely take issue with inclusive of tournaments that I don't think Overwatch wins. I mean, again, they started their own fucking league, but I think there's a lot of other categories. Like I know Riot has their own league. I mean, Counter-Strike, when it comes to, you talk about inclusion of tournaments, I mean, there are so many different tournaments running Counter-Strike. Some of the other stuff, like you could maybe say like, I don't know, community support and content updates. Well, I don't know. But best esports player, Faker takes that category.
I'm happy about that.
Legends player. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Best esports team, Cloud9 takes that. Team Liquid was told that they won, but there was nobody there, so they choked the victory. So Cloud9 took it. Best debut indie game presented by Chic Hydro. Cuphead took that.
Can I just say, this was a terrible Game Awards because there was no Chic Hydrobot.
There was no Hydrobot this year.
Who was that guy?
I never thought I would miss that fucking cringe dude as much as I did this year.
Oh, and him and the guy who would interview him every time last year.
God.
Premium cringe.
I am actually kind of an interesting category. It's recognizing a new independent studio that released its first game in 2017.
Yeah,
and it was fan voting. But I think that's I think that's a pretty good win because I didn't actually realize Cuphead was that studio's first game.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. I'd say they deserve 2 awards, but I would have liked for Hollow Knight to win. I don't know. That's just
and then finally, best Chinese game, JX3 HD won that, which I have no idea what that is. If that's an RPG.
I was gonna say I don't know any of those games.
Got nothing about these. Any of these.
Beating the League ripoff, King of Glory.
Can I point out King of Glory? Yeah, just League of Legends. A League of Legends clone, straight up.
Yeah, it is so blatant.
It is 100% that. It's amazing. One thing I did was a little bit surprised about. Horizon Zero Dawn was up for a lot of awards.
Yeah,
it got none. Right. And people really, I know I haven't played it yet, but people really enjoyed that game, thought it was really good. I made a little pun, which I was very proud of myself. I said they should rename themselves Horizon Zero Awards after this game show. Because it was pretty rough. A lot of people, I saw people on Twitter that were like, "Man, fuck, Horizon Zero Dawn didn't win anything." So
I think that just speaks was probably to the strength of this year.
The category, the games in the category.
I'm sure they would on any other year. I feel like they would have won something, but not winning anything. It's just like there were other games that did the one thing better.
Yeah, agreed. I think it was very tough year to be so many good games in the categories.
Oh yeah,
so there you
fantastic
go.
year.
Yeah, good show overall. Definitely the best one. Some of the best, definitely the best moments I can think of in any game award. So actually, really looking forward to it again next year. I don't know, it'd be kind of hard to top, but
I think from the Spike VGAs.
It really has.
Yeah. Oh man,
very solid. And I really like that they allow us to like restream it and stuff like that. I think that's a huge component of its success as well. I think that's very smart. So, all right, moving on from that, we got some quick hits. What we want to grab. Well, actually, I'm sorry, no, we don't. I need to talk about this just because this was a story that we had mentioned a couple weeks ago. But we had talked about the U.S. lawmaker who had called out Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the loot box stuff when all the EA people were up in arms. Has everyone, by the way, forgot about that except this guy? Is everyone over it and playing Battlefront 2? And, I feel like the hype, it's died down a bit. I haven't heard much about it. I don't know have they re-implemented? Does anybody know if they've re-implemented
they haven't. Stuff? They haven't. Okay, there's like a rumor mill story that I think their EA's COO or CFO was basically on a call and said like they're looking into whether they implement it or not. And that was taken to mean like maybe they're not going to re-implement it, but they haven't confirmed either way.
Gotcha. So Chris Lee was the Hawaiian representative who had brought this up originally, and so he basically has come forward with what his plan is for an anti-loot box law, as he's calling it. And he's saying that games that include loot boxes should only be sold to people over the age of 21, which I don't think. I think it then is now is basically this is a non-issue because people already play games that are supposed to be sold to people only over the age of 18. I don't think that really
it's just like,
affects
how do you
anything.
enforce something like that?
Exactly. But anyway, he says that restriction would cover any situation in which players are purchasing a percentage chance to get an in-game item. Yeah, basically anything that has loot boxes or that can be looked at as gambling. He also expressed a little bit of concern about, publishers that are adjusting odds in loot boxes to take advantage of people. He didn't say that he had any hard data on that, but assumes that they're doing it. The one thing I like that he talks about in this is the accountability piece of the legislation would require publishers to put their loot box drop rates out there. I think I'm all for that. I don't think there's any reason that they shouldn't do that, and I'm all for legislating that and making them do that. Again, Brandon, you had discussed, a lot of times when legislation and video games start getting intertwined, it doesn't work out well for video games in general. So again, because it goes too far or it tries to do whatever else. I don't really also think there's any chance in hell in the current political climate that this gets too much support anyway. I would be pretty surprised. I don't think this is going to get passed if it even gets to the time of day. But what do you think about the
I do think the drop rates thing. I mean, that precedent's sort of already been established by China,
right?
And I do think I actually think that's one of the seediest parts of loot boxes right now. Is there's always this undercurrent of, are they changing the percentages on me? And like if I know how much this loot box costs, but maybe they're changing the percentages over time and making it a worse chance. And I'm just not, I don't know because I'm only buying one. And so I do think that publicizing the drop rates is only a positive thing because it ensures that they couldn't change it without incurring the wrath of their players. Where right now they could just change it behind the scenes, and they could, I think the seedy thing is they could change it for individual players. Now they probably aren't. Like that's a pretty complex system. So I'm guessing that they're probably not doing that right now. But think about, if you make the drop rates different for someone who's spent $1,000 versus someone who spent $0, that's where I think like the Chris Lee, the representative here, that's where he might get traction, because if you're giving different drop rates to someone who's never bought anything because you want to prime them and make them feel good, and then you lower the drop rate later after they've spent money. That's stuff that is that's outlawed in gambling.
Yeah,
like that's you are not allowed to do things like that in casinos. And so I think that's where his take is actually has some accuracy, because the gambling industry is regulated in such a way that that's not allowed. So when you walk up to a slot machine, that slot machine plays exactly the same for you as it does for everyone else. And it's for better or worse. Like, your chances are the same as, the old lady sitting down next to you, and that. And so it's not that you can still gamble away all your life savings doing that, but at least you're not being duped into thinking you have a better chance to win than you actually do. So I agree with what you said. I think with all the stuff going on in the legislature, I'd be surprised if this makes its way forward in the current political climate. But I do think that's something where I think the companies probably should have already self-regulated that. I am betting this is probably scaring the large game companies, because this is the thing they don't want. They don't want legislation that potentially hinders them from trying new things. But in order to avoid that legislation, I think they have to be smarter about the things that they do proactively. And the drop rates thing, some of these games already have to do that in China. They ought to just do it in the U.S. and Europe, and just basically come forward and start that.
Yeah, just start doing it and be like, all right, we'll publish them. Yeah,
exactly. So
Yeah,
I think I think that's only a positive change. The rest of it, I think I agree that like enforcing a 21 plus, online purchase. I mean, like that's no one's going to be able to do that successfully unless they require you to give like your driver's license or something, and that sets the bar pretty high for even like I just don't think it would happen. So
no, same. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this, see if this ends up getting anywhere. Some, like you said, I do think the drop rate thing is a good idea, and we'll see if he gets any more.
I think not just a good idea. Like I think that not publicizing the drop rates is downright deceptive.
True,
and that is the thing that makes it. I think that is the strongest argument for why it is gambling, because it can fool you into thinking you have a better chance than you do, which leads to kind of reinforcing that gambling type behavior. So I think that he's got a strong point with that particular thing, and if he lost that point, I think he would probably have a really tough time moving this legislation forward.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. So again, we'll keep our eye on what the representative is up to. What was the name again? Chris Lee. Yeah. We'll see what he can do. Jump into the quick hits real quick here. We've got a new Portal game that is actually set to launch this month called Bridge Constructor Portal, which is kind of interesting. And it's 2 weeks. Okay, when was this article written? 5 days ago. So December 20th, Bridge Constructor Portal will come out, and apparently combines Head Up Studios' lighthearted engineering sim with Valve's masterpiece. It blends the laws of structural engineering and technology straight from Aperture Laboratories into an exciting new game experience, all under the demanding gaze of sorry, I was thinking about donuts again. So yeah, it looks pretty interesting. The announcement trailer.
I thought it was cool that Valve licensed out the Portal IP to this other company to make a Portal related game.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Good on them.
Yeah, kind of a cool little thing. So yeah, December 20th if you want to check that out. I mean, we already talked about PUBG once when it came to the Game Awards, but we have to talk about them again, of course, right? They have to have some portion of their own section. And PUBG has broken 3 million concurrent users between the live server and the test server, which is crazy. 3 million concurrent between the two.
Last time we talked about it was 2 million.
It was 2 million, and it's time. They did it. Crazy, man.
That is actually crazy. We've said it before, but I just can't fathom how they've gone up in like 50% in peak player count over the last time we talked about this. To be crazy. Easily the largest game on Steam. Like just not by all accounts, the largest game on Steam hands down. And their lead is just they're just furthering their lead. Like it's like laughable that we were at one point talking about H1Z1 and PUBG in the same breath, because they're now on just entirely different levels.
Yeah.
Pretty freaking crazy. And we said, like, what is the cap? And I'm like, I don't know. We were talking about it when it was like 1 million, and we were like, we're like, I don't know. And then it was 1.5, and then it was 2, and we're like, well, we'll talk again when it's 3.
Yeah.
So, it's crazy. So, obviously 1.0 is launching on the 20th, and the desert map is live on the test servers right now. I've been watching people play that. Looks interesting. Have you guys played the desert map or anything like that?
I haven't, but I'm kind of excited for some of the things that they've added or are adding, like the truck. They're adding like a truck vehicle and a jet ski, and they've announced a few new weapons. So I think stuff like that, I feel like I wasn't originally thinking they would add things like new weapons or vehicles specific to given maps, but I think that could make the gameplay a lot more interesting, because you have actual different, like real hard differences between the way you can play on the desert map versus the original. So
Right.
that sounds pretty cool. I haven't gotten a chance to play it, but I'm looking forward to it.
Is it still? It's just on the test servers right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably wait for it, and it's gonna come out on release. Yeah, yeah. Another one of the new vehicles I saw was there's a bus which can seat up to 6 people, which is kind of interesting that it'd go up to 6, but that just looks pretty troll. And yeah, so excited to play that also. Get back into it.
And moving on from well, actually, you know what? How about from one insane number to the next? Except now we're talking hardware. NVIDIA has released a $3,000 video card.
Jesus,
$3,000. I don't even. I guess this is for people that again just have some, some income that they're just like, who cares?
It's not really built for gaming. That's the subtext. Is it's built as a computing card. So they actually announced this at a Neural Information Processing Systems conference. So that's why it's sort of just a footnote. It's not a big deal, I think, for gamers, because I mean I think spending $3,000 for a card, even if you have that money, it's not worth it at all. But if you do computational stuff, then this might be a drop in the bucket, compared to using a supercomputer or something.
True.
So that's it's pretty cool though. I mean, it's neat that obviously they can go even farther. And so yeah, I mean, if you have $3,000 and you want to have it's a gold card. It's got like gold plating. Yeah. So if you want to have the absolute gaudiest PC around, you now have a new bar to reach. But it's cool. This is I imagine that this technology will end up influencing their next line of consumer cards anyway.
Man. Ying just going full savage, by the way, in chat. I have to point this out. This was not even, we're discussing, I'm having a side conversation in chat, but Ying had to check, guys. Speaking of numbers, though not big, Lawbreakers had a peak of 30 for the last 24 hours.
Oh my God.
I mean, because we do, it is part and parcel. We do kind of have to talk about it, because we did talk about Lawbreakers a bit, and boy, they, you know what? Honestly, I'm not kidding. Make a battle royale mode.
Yes, yeah.
I'm serious. Like, whatever. I don't even care how much it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, they'll have to do it. They will have to do it.
I think Cliffy B, just do it.
What a baffling game. Like, they are making big content updates for this game that 20 people play a day.
They have more people. They have more people working at their studios than that. Like, how that means that the people at their studio are they even playing the game?
We're not even playing it.
Oh no. Well, even if let's say 15 people from their studio are playing it, so that means that it's 15 if we take that away.
I bet Cliffy B hangs out at the studios after everyone gets off. It's like, anybody want to do some LAN?
Anybody?
Yeah. Do you think they have Do you think they have community nights, but it's just like everyone in the company?
It lasts 30 minutes, and I gotta get home, Cliff. I'm
think about it. You could make a game and ask your family to play it, and you would have about 20% of the player count that Lawbreakers has.
Oh my Jesus Christ. Oh man, that just hurts. I feel bad for the 20 people still sticking around, waiting.
I mean, they're diehard, dude. They're just hoping that it picks up.
God, I mean, the best thing that they can do, and I've said it before, but go free to play, wait for that big content update, say fuck it, actually, change the art style, don't try to keep it edgy, no one likes that shit, make it so you can actually distinguish characters. This is such an easily salvageable game, dude.
Is that
God, so
they have for all the art assets and stuff they have. Honestly, Scott, I think you're right. They need to make a battle royale mode and just try to capitalize on the trend, right? Make it free to play. Basically just follow what Fortnite did. Just actually make a battle royale mode, make it free to play.
Fucking pivot from whatever your original mode was. It's not going to work. The game generally runs pretty well. It's a nice engine. like what they've done, how they tweaked it. Like you already have a bunch of unique characters. Like you would have to strip all of that, obviously. Like you wouldn't be able to start out with. But they could do it, and I would play. I would try it out. I mean, it might not grab me, but I mean, when Warface can have a battle royale mode, which is very bare bones. I mean, listen.
I think they're in last ditch territory anyway. So
they are.
Yeah.
You've got to try something that you just hope reignites that spark.
Absolutely. I wonder if every time Cliffy B sees like, you know, somebody comment on Lawbreakers, if he just wants to jump off himself, you know what I mean? Just jump off that cliff. All right, that was a real stretch of a joke, but anyway.
I was gonna say, I think Cliffy B is doing fine.
No, he's doing fine. Yeah, he's got plenty.
Other people working at his studio may feel that way, but something tells me he's probably living just as high as he needs to.
Yeah, he's doing. I mean, he's living so high he couldn't even come to. He didn't even come. I was on the eSports stage playing Lawbreakers, and I swear to God, Cliffy B wasn't even there. He didn't even show up. I mean, he lives. I mean, we were in LA. Like he lives there, and he couldn't make it. So anyway, I think
a lot of stuff going on. I'm sure
means nothing to him.
He can't even come to his own event. I don't know. But all right, talk to me about the Capcom Cup news.
Yeah, so this is some fresh news. This happened just an hour or two ago. Capcom Cup 2017 went on. I was only able to catch the grand finals, but it was an incredible grand finals. It was Tokido, Great Akuma player, against I think it's Mena RD, which I know because he's Menards. That's all I think of when I see it. It's Mena RD. He's the best Dominican Republic player, and he managed to come back from. He was in losers bracket, and he came back from a 2-0 where he was down by 2, so he won 5 consecutive games. He did a crazy huge comeback and won the tournament. It was a exciting grand finals, really good stuff. And as is tradition, as everyone was hoping, Yoshiro Ono comes out, drops some announcements for the people. Who comes out and announces, everyone's expecting a new character, and he reveals Sakura, which is a character who's been around, in previous Street Fighter games. So it's good to see her back.
Can I say when I saw this, all I thought of was Sakura Swim Club. That's all
yes.
That's literally all.
Mine's in the right place.
Yeah. Am I in the ballpark of what this character is going to be?
Or yeah, what? She is waifu material. Look at her. Okay. Anyways. No, your mind's definitely in the right place. But he comes out and he toys with us some more, and then plays a second trailer, which absolutely blew my mind. Mike Pollock was on Twitter. It blew his mind as well. We're watching this. They actually revealed the entire 6-character list coming out for season 3. That whole roster, which a character that I've been secretly hoping for since the release of the game. Blanca, my main from Street Fighter 2 on the Sega Genesis. Dang. He's finally coming back. They're bringing back. It's going to go Sakura first, coming out this January, and then let me pull up the list real quick. It's in the document, but they're also going to have. Let's see here. Blanca's coming back. A new character, Falk, which looks a lot like. I'm thinking like Alex's sister, Cody, who has been a long-time character. A new character, G, who looks like he's channeling some Uncle Sam here. But then also Sagat is coming back as the last character, and I know a lot of people are very excited for Sagat, myself included. So yeah, I've been waiting to get back into Street Fighter 5. It looks like Arcade Edition is already going to be a huge free update for owners of the game. But I'm tempted to just if you buy Arcade Edition as by itself, you get all of the new characters for now and on. But if you already own just base Street Fighter 5, you get all the new content coming out for free. But you can still buy all the characters, which are earnable with in-game currency. But who the fuck would do that? Come on, it's 2017, baby. We got VC all day, baby.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a very, very great CG trailer that they did. So yeah, very exciting stuff. And it's gonna be a good year for Street Fighter. It looks like the game is actually going to be finished pretty soon. So yeah, it'd be good.
All right, roll us right in, Katie. Keep going, dude. You're on a roll. Right into the new releases.
Let's do it. Right into some new releases. first up is a game I'm pretty excited for, which is Okami HD, one of the best PS2 games, one of the best games ever made, in my opinion, coming out on PC on December 12th for only $20. Going to, support all your favorite resolutions. Sadly, I did read this. Very sadly, it will have it'll have a 30 FPS lock.
Ooh.
Yes. Because developers are being interviewed saying that because it was started on the PS2 and never really intended to reach this frame rate, it simply breaks the game, like the logics and the collision.
I was gonna say probably it would make sense, like technically. That
Exactly. But played it. I think to myself, I played it back in the day at 30 FPS, but part of me was like, man, I can't wait to play Okami at 144 hertz. Oh my god. Hopefully we'll get like maybe a DS fix patch or something. I don't know. We'll see. That'll just be a giant FU to the devs if some guy can pull a Dark Souls and fix the problem in a day. Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, $20, that's an incredible deal for this game. So if you've never played it before, absolutely pick it up. It's awesome. Next up is a split screen co-op game. No, not co-op. It's like a competition game. It's called Chambara, I think. It's a split screen where your samurais trying to kill each other. This is like award-winning. Plenty of awards for best like one to watch for, best student game, best competition game, dating from awards back to like 2014 and on to 2016, where it's the entire world is pretty much stark black and white, and you play as like white or black samurais, and you try to blend into the environment. If you hit someone successfully, they get marked purple, and so you can take them out that way. There's a trailer on the Steam page which does a pretty good job of like showing off what the game's about. People are having some fun. I don't know how much money they were paid off camera, but the game does look fun. But yeah, that comes out December 12th again. It's called Chambara, spelled Chambara. So look out for that. Looks fun. Next up is a game called... Did I throw this on here? I did not throw this on here. I'll let someone else take this.
I added it. Stationeers. It's the new game from Rocketworks, Dean Hall's studio.
Oh, Dean Hall.
Didn't he just release a game?
I don't know. But I know they've been working on Stationeers for a while. I want to say it's already... I think it was in early access. And so maybe it's coming out like for real. Or maybe it's going into early access. I can't exactly tell. But I've heard a bit about this game, and it looks kind of interesting. It's so different from the game everyone knows him for, DayZ. Like this game is you construct and manage your own space station and ships. So it's like it's in space. So very different climate, very different type of game, kind of like a simulation sort of deal. So it looks kind of cool. Okay. I thought I'd throw that on there. I'm not sure what it costs, but it comes out on December 12th, so a couple days from now.
This does look actually really interesting, but I couldn't help but hit show me more when it came to what the developers have to say, because there's a whole Q&A on the early access, and nothing I'm reading here tells me that this is any different than Dean Hall's normal operations. Stationeers is an exceptionally complex game. Can I just insert some stuff? DayZ is an exceptionally complex game. By releasing this game to the community, we're able to test our assumptions so far and ensure the focus of the game and our design decisions are in the right direction. Anyway, I'm reading this and I'm just inserting. Not saying. I mean, it's a different kind of product, so it may not run into the same kind of issues, but
yeah, it's also. Anyway, I'm sure it's probably also on a different engine. You don't have to deal with the Arma engine.
Good point. Yeah, it does look interesting.
Yeah, they also made a VR game, but I don't know how well that did, because VR is hard to judge. But this is not a VR game. It's just it's a Windows title. So
yeah, looks interesting.
Is Dean Hall still with Bohemia? Like, is he working on DayZ?
No, he hasn't worked on DayZ for a while. So he owns his own studio. It's called Rocketworks, and so they're putting out this game.
Okay. Yeah, I was confused because it was like less than a week ago that we got that new game from Bohemia, and I'm like, wait a minute, how many games?
Yeah, as far as I know, he's like completely severed from Bohemia and has been, I think, for a while.
Okay, gotcha. All right, yeah, that does look interesting. I'll have to throw that on the wish list. Next up Now, hear me out. This game is called called Arcana Heart 3, all caps, Love Max 6 stars, followed by 6 exclamation points.
What the fuck is
Now, this is a game I have not played.
What?
Which is it looks like a little girl fighting game.
Yeah.
And it's published by Arc System Works, the people behind Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
And,
it has nudity in it too, apparently.
It does. It does have nudity. This is a game I hear about that people will try to. I think it was someone I watched the Two Best Friends or the Super Best Friends. They're saying they're at they were at a fighting game tournament one time, and one of the higher ups is talking about had like a group of people watching, like, hey, everybody, look at this game, Arcana Heart 3. Look at all these mechanics. This game is so. And then the game starts up, and it's these little lolly girls with revealing clothing, and the whole crowd just disperses, and he's going on about the mechanics.
Oh my god!
So they had to dip out. It looks, it's got that visual novel. Also, yeah, it's a lolly fighting game. But listen, dude, I know some people in this chat who are down for this. I know some people in our chat, APL.
I believe that. Oh, I know there are. I know there are.
So yeah, if this is your thing, I'm not saying it's mine by no means.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pick it up. I mean, it was on PS3, and what if it is actually a competent, like, better than Street Fighter fighting game? What if it has mechanics that are so in depth you couldn't even comprehend that shit?
I mean, it could be.
I'm just impressed that the logo does have 6 exclamation points.
It does.
And the bottom of the exclamation points are stars. So 6 stars, and the stars are the exclamation points. I mean, it all plays together.
Now, 6 stars, it could either be sex stars, or it could be sisters, or I don't
know.
Be both. It's Japan.
No, KD, there are 6 stars.
Yes, I know that, but I'm trying to look deeper. They really went the distance. Whoever put this logo together, props to you. Yeah, but yeah, December 12th, that gem of a game is released. Next up, I was not thinking. I've never heard of this game. I didn't know this was coming out, but a sequel, quote unquote, to L.A. Noire is coming out. It's going to be L.A. Noire: The VR Case Files, where it looks like some VR.
Is it a sequel, or is it just a remake of the game in VR? I can't tell.
I'm not sure if it's just
it looks like it has 7 cases rebuilt specifically for virtual reality. So I can't tell if that's
because some of
changed any of the content.
Some of this looks like I played that game twice. It looks exactly screenshots straight out of. Like the first mission, like the first case that you take on, one of the screenshots is out of that, just from a first-person perspective. So
yeah,
well, I think they've just tailored it to VR, which is fine.
Interesting though that Rockstar is putting out a VR title.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. I like the concept of it's all about reading people's facial expressions and doing notes. I think that could work in VR, but
L.A. Noire seems like it could be a game that would work decently in VR.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how that turns out.
I mean, I'll tell you, it didn't work. LA Noire facial expression shit didn't work in the actual game, but maybe it'll work.
It didn't.
Like that was such a meme. Like read their expressions, and like you'd be like, oh, he's lying for sure, and then you'd hit something, and then it would be like, no, you fucking idiot, he's definitely not lying. You're like, oh, okay, I guess I just can't read these fucking facial expressions. I feel like LA Noire, though it was, I really did enjoy that game. Actually, going back, it's fucking ridiculous, a lot of it, but. It was them really pushing. Remember that facial technology, right? Like their mocap and stuff in the face, and that was like their vehicle. But
right,
yeah, it was climb the pipe, right? Climb the pipe.
That's exactly. Yeah, someone like me, I've never played L.A. Noire, so I feel like it might be worth a try. But I don't have the VR headset.
Yeah, it's worth a playthrough. Probably not worth buying VR for though.
But, right? Yeah, definitely not. But yeah, that's going to do it for the new releases this week. Let's head into some viewer questions.
Let's do it, man. Whackman3209 on Twitter. What a name. I don't know if he's like a guy, a killer for hire, or he whacks men off. And he's whacked off 3,209 men. He's killed 3,209 men.
He changes his username every time he whacks off another.
He could be the 3,209th victim of the Whackman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe that's commemorating his place in line.
The serial number, yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
It's just a line of thousands of men waiting to be whacked.
In chat, someone said, yeah, he's a masturbation enthusiast. This is the amount of times he's masturbated. Could be, so.
He just changes his Twitter handle every day.
I feel like if he's at all a decent age, it'd be much higher than that. But who knows, actually? How many? Well,
yeah. Well, let's pull up our little calculator here.
Yeah, go ahead and do some math on how many times. Let's just say, 365. If he's
right, 365
times. Let's say he's 20. Okay, yeah, that would be a little bit. I mean, if you don't probably, well, some people jerk off every day. It would be around 7,300 if he was 20. So it's possible he's
no. But that's you don't start at age 0.
No.
I'm sorry. Well, this is just that's how I came out of the womb. But okay, you're right. Okay,
you're ignoring puberty.
You're right. Okay, so let's say 8. I did start.
I would say if it's every day, he's looking at about almost 9 years. I would say that conservatively puts him early 20s.
Okay, yeah, it could be.
I feel like that's definitely been achieved by one, if not at least one member of this podcast.
Well, beyond the fact that he has a very interesting username that we will decipher at some point, maybe he can let us know what it actually means. He asked us what was the best holiday gift you've received. And I have to say, when I started reading this question, it immediately came to me that I don't think I can point to one thing I've ever received for Christmas that I can remember or meant anything to me. Like, what? I have nothing that came to mind, which I don't know if that means that I just didn't really get anything or if Christmas was never that big of a deal to me, because I feel like it never really was.
Are you saying that perhaps the gifts you received were not the reason for the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think I have to say it. I mean, I'm sure I've received some cool stuff over the years, but I have nothing that comes to mind that was like, wow, yeah, this was the Christmas that I was like, I got exactly what I wanted.
Well, so. I mean, that's because every year you receive the enduring love of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Very true. Very true. That's, you know what? Maybe that's why. Maybe because nothing tops the love of our Lord Jesus. That I don't have anything, because who cares about monetary stuff or like items and frivolous things like that. I don't need anything like that. I need the love of my Lord. So all right, but enough about me. What about you guys? What do you have for your best gift you ever received?
I think when I first get this answer, it's not going to be all that special, but I'll try to explain it. I think this was maybe 3 years ago. My father got me a 144 hertz monitor.
Yeah.
That's good from just a material perspective, because that was my first time ever playing on a 144 hertz monitor, and of course it's a very worthwhile upgrade.
Sure.
But more than anything, this was like, my parents had never gotten me a gift like that before. Like they would always get me like it would be they at the best they'd be able to do like a game or something like that, because they don't really follow the whole tech side of things.
Sure.
For my parents to narrow down to a 144 hertz monitor must have taken so much work for them to figure out that this was the thing that they should get for our son who plays video games.
That is really impressive. Did you give hints?
No, see, I was at university at the time too. Like I was seeing my parents maybe like once a month or something like that.
Crazy. Yeah.
So like for them to have figured that out, to go through like, all right, so he plays on the computer. Like what is the thing that people who play on the computer want right now? And for them to have done the research and figure out, all right, this thing called a 140, because like even after they got it for me, my dad was like, so what exactly is the difference?
That's awesome.
He didn't fully grasp what it was, but he knew through his research that this was the thing to try to get as a gift. So that's why I'll say the best one, just because like clearly the thought and effort that they did to research into my interest to narrow it down to that being like the ultimate gift was very meaningful. So that'll be my answer.
No, that's great. That's a great answer. I mean, that is, yeah, the thought that went into that to get you that. I mean, I don't think my parents have ever given me a gift. Yeah, man, fuck my parents. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I don't think my parents have ever given me anything on that level. Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, maybe that's for the best though, because I feel like that could very easily have gone wrong, where they they don't know the good brands or something, and so they get you the the cheap 144.
What it sounded like was like they didn't just like do this on their own. It sounded like he went into like stores and were asking people at the store. He's like, oh, I know I want to get like a good brand. Like, what should I be looking for? And like, he clearly did a lot of research to go in and try to figure this out. So like, he ended up like, I'm using it right now. It's an Asus 144 hertz monitor, and it works fantastic. So
that's impressive. It's impressive that not only was the thought there, but they also nailed like actually getting the quality product in that category.
Right. Yeah. Well. Yeah,
trying to think about mine. It's just tricky for me because like a lot of my like gifts I think about were very video game related, and which isn't to say I don't like value them. I think they're they're material, but they're I really what I'm trying to say. I'm happy to have gotten them. I'm not trying to say they're not as important as other gifts, but I think the one that had the most like impact on me was probably when going from the Wii and to like PS3, when they got me like a PS3 back when it first came out, and just like I don't know, that was it's just I kind of feel bad. There was nothing really like sentimental or anything, but which isn't to say I don't take these for granted or anything, but just I remember switching to PS3 and thinking I will never be able to play games again with graphics like these, because I'll never get used to these graphics, because like after only playing on the Wii, I'm like, how can every game look this good? I can never get used to it. Yeah. And now I'm such a huge snob about shadows and shit. So I don't know. Yeah, nothing real special. But I mean, I'm not trying to say my gifts weren't special. Like I'm just saying.
Don't worry, I'm recording all of this and sending it to your father.
Right. I sense a lot of backtracking here.
Yeah, he listens to the podcast. So
I know he does. I know. Well, hence your hence your backtracking. I understand what you're saying, though. I understand what you're saying.
I think I would say it's hard to pin down a single gift over the years, but when I was younger, I remember it was kind of a tradition or like a theme that I really liked remote control cars. And the old remote control cars, like the electric ones, not like gas powered or anything, nothing crazy, but the ones you would get at like Toys R Us, they were generally not, they wouldn't last that long, and so I would usually I would get a new one at Christmas, and then I'd play with it all over Christmas break, but then it would go in the garage, and then by the time you pull it out again, it doesn't work anymore. But I can't remember the different ones, but every single year there was some new model of RC car. Like I remember one of them had a little, it had a button where it could jump. And so that one was like, I could do it on the street and then hit the button to jump and jump over the ledge on our driveway, which was like, that was wild stuff back in the day.
Yep. That's neat.
Yeah, that's the stuff that stands out.
Very cool. Yeah, I don't really have anything. Yeah, I don't have anything. I'm kind of in Katie's boat. I mean, I don't have anything too stand outish, but yeah, both your answers were good. I think Ying's definitely got to take it though with that work his parents did to get him that 140 hertz monitor. That's a pretty cool story. That's crazy.
Just knowing that it would have taken them a lot of work to figure
a lot of work. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like if my parents listen to this, they'll hit me and be like, "Oh, you don't remember this, huh, David?"
No. You're about to get. Your dad's gonna be like, "All right, let me go through the years of school."
Yeah, you're gonna get shamed.
Oh, this money I spent on you.
You're gonna get shamed. They're gonna show you pictures of you having a fantastic time on Christmas morning.
And they're not only going to show you those pictures of you having a great time, those pictures are going to be your gift this year.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Framed for him to put up in his room. Yes.
Sorry. Thanks for the GameCube, guys. Appreciate that.
All right. Next question comes from Noah, but no Arc. I like that Twitter handle. Noah, but no Arc. I just want you to know that Noah did have a goddamn arc, okay? And so if you're going to try to twist the Bible and manipulate it, I will not stand for it.
I think his name is Noah Scott.
I know. You're right. I got real defensive. He doesn't have an arc. I got it. So he's not denying that Noah
he's jealous that he shares
see.
a name with someone who had an arc, but he does not have one.
I'm sorry. As a fellow brother, I'm so sorry for lashing out on you like that, Noah. I hope you know what. Hey, you could go to the Creation Museum and take a look at what one of the arcs actually possibly looked like, my friend. Maybe we'll do a little day trip there. Anyway, what are your go-to spices when cooking? Is his first question. So let's handle that first, and then we'll go to the other question.
Would you consider? I mean, if you chop and mince garlic, would you consider that a spice?
I think that counts.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that counts because that's sort of like it's like a flavor additive sort of thing.
Yeah, I would go with that because I feel like there's a lot of flexibility when you just like try to cook something with garlic.
Can I just point out that Noah's in chat and his his Twitch name is Peen Guzzler, and was his so Noah.
Oh wait, Peen Guzzler was also Hutch has a 9-inch cock. I remember that name.
Apparently, it did not make it to the Twitch filters. So Twitch has since.
That's
that's amazing. Well, Noah, thank you for your question. Man, go-to spices. I don't get too crazy with it, man. I like my stuff salted. I like my stuff peppered. I have grinders for both of that. I use a decent amount of garlic. Like I don't always have fresh garlic, so I use a lot of garlic powder and garlic salt. I like my stuff garlic.
Yeah, garlic salt's really good.
Garlic salt's really solid. Decent amount of that. I'll use some. I have this like chipotle. It's like a mix between like red pepper flakes and also chipotle mixed together. It's actually really good. I use
red pepper flakes is a good one.
Yeah, it's always solid. Trying to think what else is a go-to. Yeah, those are some of mine. What about you, Katie? What do you use for your cooking?
Who do you think you're talking to here?
I mean, I'm just come on. You season your food or whatever. I know you don't cook much, but
I mean, you tell us about what your dad cooks. You're not watching. You're not getting some tips.
No, I do.
You're telling me you're not cracking some pepper on top of that bowl of cereal, brother?
Oh my!
Right. Some nice fresh pepper,
red pepper flakes on your cornflakes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Holy cereal wasn't so much work.
Yeah. It's because you have to put all the spices on it to really be good.
Cereal.
Yeah, I like to get some Reese's Puffs, then dump a bunch of garlic powder. And,
delicious.
It's delicious. But no, I employ salt and pepper routinely.
Salt and pepper mainly.
Yeah, but I play it simple. I don't get too crazy. I mean, I garlic powder also. Okay. But I'm still learning. I have been in the kitchen more trying to pick up on some tactics. I don't know if you would call how to cook tactics, but. Just trying to learn more, but
tactics.
My cooking tactics. I feel like some try hard on MasterChef would say.
Cooking tactics.
Some try hard. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my cooking God, I remember watching MasterChef Junior, and there was this kid who, he wore a fedora. He probably had a thesaurus in his backpack. He was like, "I have impressed the judges with my culinary prowess," and he would oh my God, he was so cringy. He
was a real
Anyways, complete tangent. Yes, I do spice with salt and pepper sometimes.
Gotcha. Separate question from Noah, aka Peen Guzzler, asks us: when you first lived away from home, what was that signature dish you perfected for yourself?
Macaroni and cheese.
That's a good answer.
It's a really good answer. Absolutely. Making some good.
You didn't say we had to cook it from scratch. So if you want some mean Kraft mac and cheese, I got that under control.
Brandon's your guy.
I'm gonna go with fried rice. I started working a lot with fried rice because there's a lot you can do with it.
Okay.
You basically put anything in with fried rice and it'll end up working out.
Yeah. I did. Go ahead, Katie.
I'll just say I think I have perfected the buttered garlic noodles with Parmesan to a T.
Okay. I mean, in your house, not away from home, but
I'm saying that would probably be the go-to.
Okay.
Along with.
I was going to say, you still have time to decide your answer here, KD, because you can.
That's true. Yeah.
You get to choose this for your future self.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
I did
break the bank too much.
When I did a lot with eggs, lots of different ways of cooking eggs. So like a lot of breakfasty kind of stuff. I would fry them and poach them sometimes. I would I mean that's more rare. That's if you really want to get fancy. But like, yeah, you can do a lot with eggs. I think that's a pretty easy.
Yeah, the thing that I do egg sandwiches, and that's like the thing I'm best at.
Egg sandwiches are good.
I had those today, actually. Delicious.
Ooh, very nice. Yeah, other than that, sure. I mean, anything. I mean, sure, mac and cheese, ramen. Go-tos. I mean, I can make a pretty. I mean, there's lots of different. I mean, pizza dough is really easy to make, and you can do a lot with it too. So sometimes I would just make like a dough and then figure out what to do with it. Right. If I was, you get some sauce, some cheese. You can make, you can make a pizza. You can make, what's it called? Where you wrap all the ingredients in it and then cook it. Why am I blanking on what
wrap?
That's called? No, not a wrap, but with pizza dough.
Oh, okay. What, a calzone?
A calzone. Thank you. Yes, it's basically it. Yeah, inside out pizza. All right.
I could say wrap would probably be a good one too. Just like, like frozen chicken and a wrap and some, honey mustard, some lettuce, cheese. That'd probably be a go-to.
Gotcha. All right. Good questions, Peen Guzzler. Thank you so much. I'll be seeing you at Bible study later, Peen Guzzler. Hopefully. Okay. This is from Will Hull via email, and I have to say this next question. This is a real throwback, not even to this show, to perhaps another show.
Nostalgic.
So let's go. What if one day you woke up and you had no nipples, like no scars, just skin where your nipples should be? Then when you leave your room, you find out your dad died, and then several days later, you find out your dad had been sneaking into your room at night when you slept and was sucking on your chest to leave 2 giant hickeys for nipples. Not any sexual reason, just for you to fit in.
Oh, that's a classic.
That is an old inbox question.
It's like, what
Machinima,
do
right?
you do?
Very, very
and
old
if I
inbox
recall,
question, but a great one.
If I recall, the answer that Sark gave for that was go to Home Hardware and buy a tube so you can suck on your own chest and create your own nipples.
Oh, yeah.
That was.
Like, that's like a $5 investment, and you got nipples for life.
It's a good solution. Yeah. Damn. That is a tough question. I mean.
Oh, man. It's just so. The journey you go on in that question too. It's like you woke up one day and you just have no nipples. Like your dad finds out that you have no nipples. He then proceeds 3 days before he dies to suck on your chest to create hickey nipples to help you fit in. And then he dies.
It poses the mystery and solves it. And it's great.
I mean, again, it's just ask the what if. I mean, I don't even. Yeah, it's just what if.
There'd be an awful lot to process there.
There's a lot to process. I mean, of course, you're dealing with the fresh reality of your father's death, so that's a whole nother level of emotions before you even get to the nipples, nipple problem. So
I was gonna say, I feel like the situation with mourning your father would, leaves your chest as kind of second priority.
Exactly.
If anything, you would come to appreciate your father that much more, that he would do something so unorthodox for you for so long.
Right.
Just for you to never have to experience the pain of being an outsider like that.
Definitely. Wow. Well, Will Hull, thank you for that throwback. It's a classic. We do have a question from Love Muffin, and he was the one that has been writing the story, if I'm not mistaken. Correct? Love Muffin has been crafting, so he has some information. Yeah, he says
you got to catch up last week on the screenplay, Scott.
Yes. I have not heard last week. Oh, I got to read the doc. I even just got to look at the doc for last week too. Okay. He says, "Hey, KBMOD, Will Smith is playing the genie in the live-action remake of Aladdin. On podcast episode 107, at 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 50 seconds, Referring to the Fresh Prince, Brandon says he brought us into this millennium. He can take us out. Collusion? Question mark? XO Love Muffin. Wow, that is some deep research right there and awesome. Memory. That's incredible. Yeah, Brandon, did you know about this? Did you know this was happening?
The thing is that Will Smith has played so many different roles where you could imagine him, taking us out of the millennium if he so chose. That the genie is just one line, like one role in a line of many influential roles he's played. So, it's not like I could foresee this, but also it wasn't a stretch. The man is a very versatile actor. He was bound to do something that took us back to the old days.
Okay. So not admitting collusion, but not denying it either.
Look,
very
we'll have
political answer.
We'll have to get him on the podcast. Answer. We'll let him speak for himself. I don't want to out Will Smith like that.
Right, exactly. Well, there you go. Good observation, Love Muffin. That's some solid detective work by you. That's good. There. Very good.
I actually remember saying that, but I didn't remember that it was that long ago. 107. That's
wow.
That's a little while back.
Man, the millennium.
Wow.
Also, he spelled millennium wrong. But we'll just overlook that.
Okay.
That's luckily this is an audio podcast, so Will Smith. Now Will Smith knows that he was disrespected by that misspelling. But had I not brought it up, Love Muffin, would have been able to sneak by. But unfortunately, I just, I don't want to harbor that. I don't want to keep things from Will, and I just feel like that was an important thing for him to know.
Amazing. Okay. Well, good. I'll accept that for the time being while we allow Love Muffin to do some more research. All right, guys. Well, this is the part of the show where we have the iTunes podcast review of the week, and by gosh darn it, we have one, and it is a doozy. I'm already wow. I just have briefly looked this over, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through this because it's incredible.
This is good.
This iTunes podcast review of the week is brought to us by Charlotte Hodes, a member of the Hodes family.
Is that Charlotte or is that Charolette?
Oh, I'm sorry. That looks like Charolette. You're right.
Charolette.
The spelling.
Charolette. Boy, what a unique name.
That is very unique. Charolette Hodes, who I guess we haven't been contacted by. The Hodes family, very big sponsors of this podcast, of course, monetarily and also via contacting us in questions and reviews. And of course, you can leave your own review of the KBMOD podcast by going to iTunes, making an account. Give us 5 stars, as of course Charolette Hodes gave us. She gave us 5 stars.
Thank you.
And then, yes, thank you, I keep trying to say Charlotte, and I can't. It's so difficult for my brain.
I think this is supposed to be pronounced Charlotte, but
no. Here's what I think. Right, I think that when they go to the store or something, they hand them their ID or they hand them their credit card, and someone says, "Oh, okay, thank you, Charlotte," and they say, "I'm sorry, it's Charolette." Like that's who this person is.
Yes, you're so right. You're so right on that. Charolette. Well, she writes, and I'm just not going to keep us in suspense anymore. The title of this podcast is "This podcast is the anthem to my life." Okay, and we're just you're going to see. It's gonna
the anthem is capitalized, so it's like
the anthem.
Is it a title? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. Yingity woke up feeling numb and whispered, "I'm not okay," to himself.
My God.
His swooped haircut was just getting in his eyes too much. He knew it was time to chingity chang his look to be more professional for the KBMOD podcast. It was time for a haircut. I have to make damn sure that I look good, he told his mother. Wow, this is incredible. She agrees and retorts, Sugar, we're going down.
What?
Sugar, we're going down the boulevard of broken dreams later today. You can get a haircut then. Yingity responds, perfect. Which,
Oh my god!
Wow.
and we're gonna have to put the photo that goes along with this. This is where, if you were listening and watching the podcast live,
Oh,
so just to preface that picture, I think a lot of people know, but I had like a pretty serious emo face in high school.
it's incredible.
Oh,
It's
man.
incredible.
I had like the full. I mean, people. I guess live listeners can see it, but I had a full. Like, I had the sweep. I listened to all the emo feely music. Like, life was hard. No one understood my art, dad. Like,
Just so good.
Man.
So good, that photo. Yeah, you owe it to yourself to find that emo photo of Yang.
This is so why I think this is supposed to be pronounced Charlotte.
Yes,
is because the podcast is the anthem to my life, and that's by Good Charlotte. Right?
Good Charlotte. Right.
Or maybe
exactly.
is it by Good Charolette?
We could be just wrong.
You're actually gonna make me look up the spelling of the band.
That's accurate. Yeah, and I have to say, he got some great one. I mean, Numb, I'm Not Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to. This is like really
sure.
testing, because I know I listened to all these songs at some point or another, but I have to like really rack my brain to try to if I can remember who did all of these songs.
These I can tell you, right? You want to know how much of a nerd I am? Okay, Numb, obviously, R.I.P. Chester.
Yeah, it's Numb, Linkin Park.
Yes.
I'm Not Okay
can do
is Chemical Romance.
Yes.
The next one is where's the next one?
Which one is Chingity Change?
Which one is Make Damn Sure. Is that Taking Back Sunday?
Yes, very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Sugar We're Going Down is Fall Out Boy.
Yes.
Boulevard Broken Dreams is Green Day.
See, you know them all.
Is that the last one? Oh, is Perfect one?
Nope, there's one more. Perfect. I can't be perfect. Simple Plan. You did it. You did it. You got them all. See, you know them all. You just have to think for a second.
And I also noticed that
You did it.
That on the picture that he linked, the Imgur link says,
Yes.
I would write more about this, but I only write sins, not tragedies, which is
Oh
always
my
Panic at the
God.
Disco.
Panic at the Disco. He went so. Oh, this is just great.
Oh God.
Charolette. Wow. Yeah.
It's
See,
definitely
you have them all.
one of the
Yang.
best. I think this is one of the best reviews in recent memory.
Oh, it's incredible. It's so well.
This is so
well
deep.
done. Wow. Incredible.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Charlotte or Charolette Toads.
You have
Just
set
a
the
model
bar for podcast reviews.
You really have.
Wait, we missed one.
Oh no, did we?
The title of that link. Hold on. Where did it go?
Oh crap.
Feeling Vindicated.
Oh yes, we
Dashboard
did.
Confessional.
Feeling vindicated. Yes, vindicated. I am selfish. I am wrong.
Ones.
Oh my God. See, Yang, you said you didn't remember these, and look at you, just aced it. You got them all.
I'm coming. It's all searching back. I was recently going through a phase where I was listening to all my emo music again, and I just got out of it. I'm gonna have to dive back in now.
Yeah. This is gonna put you right back to the edge, which is perfect. This is where I lived and breathed all these artists, so this is great. I'm right at home with this too. I never had the haircut that Yang did with the emo haircut, but
I was totally in on that scene.
Yeah. Wow. What a great review. Thank you again.
The facial expression, looking off camera.
Yeah.
So thoughtful, and
the whole thing is so good.
There's no way in that photo that I'm just not thinking like RAR XD or something.
Oh, geez. All right. So there you go. Well, that was a great way to cap episode 304 of the KBMOD podcast. Thank you guys again so much for listening. As always, you can, of course, check out KBMOD Gaming on the internet at kbmod.com. Check out the build guides. Check out the forums. Check out the different articles and reviews and previews and stuff that goes on up there. You can follow KBMOD Gaming on Twitter at KBMOD Gaming. You can follow us as well individually. You can follow Yingity Yang at Yingity Yang on Twitter. Katie Zen is at Katie Zen _ Volition is at Volition, VOL1 TION. I am at APL Fisher. And yeah, thanks again so much for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode. And I don't know, it'll be hard to top that review, but feel free to try. Definitely set the bar for reviews for a long time. Charlotte Hodes. Actually, and also if you're maybe even just reach out and let us know how we're supposed to pronounce your name, even if it's not a review. Maybe, just via Twitter or something. Would love to know. So all right, guys. We'll see you next week. Farewell.
Yatta!